Salute, Nick family. Welcome to Dope Soul Sports Talk, a member of the NBK fam. A lot to talk about tonight. Training camp has started. First preseason game, October 4th. I believe that's next week, Tuesday. I believe we're playing Detroit. Everybody's coming into camp with a clean slate. And now we hear that Fournier is the front runner for that shooting guard spot. What does that mean for the rest of the position battles? Are those kind of decided already? We will see. Anyway, let me bring in today's guest, Hard Will, first time on Dope Soul. Welcome, Jarrell,
Thanks for having
staffer,
me.
resident panelist, rocking with me every week. How you fellas doing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm blessed. Can't complain. You're welcome, Hardwell.
Thank you,
And I
bro.
mean, be
Appreciate it.
prepared. I know you always be prepared, but this show be rough sometimes. So get ready.
Nah, it's Stafford be the rough one.
It's
You
a
better
family show, bro.
correct.
It's a
Stafford
family
won.
show, bro. Stop it. That's gonna be your best shot right there. What you just said. Come on, Stafford.
You see, there he go. There he go.
Yeah, salute to the chat. Salute to Josh. I'm gonna give Josh the link. He can
Salute to the
probably
chat.
pop in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So listen, let's get right into it. I watched the Leon Rose interview a few days ago. He said everyone is coming into training camp with a fresh slate. Today, Tom Thibodeau. Matter of fact, let me just play it because I did. Let me just see. Let me play it and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, no, I think the thing is we need shooting. The one thing that I know is that, with Jalen, with RJ, with Julius, we have to put shooting around them, right? Mitch will give us pressure on the rim, so that's what will force the defense to collapse. And so Evans proven. I thought the second half of last year he played really well. So. I think we have good depth at that position. We'll see how everything unfolds.
Does that mean that Evan is the front runner right now to start at that spot?
Yep.
Okay. I mean, were you able to hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we heard it.
Okay. All righty. Shout out to Tsunami Speaks, Eddie C.
Salute.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Salute to the fam. Salute.
Yeah.
Salute to my Costa Rican brethren.
What's up?
You know it.
Yeah. So, I was saying I was listening to Leon Rose's interview. I got to it late. I think I watched it yesterday or 2 days ago. He said everyone is coming into training camp with a clean slate. We hear from Tom Thibodeau that they need shooting and 28 is the front runner. What's your reaction to that? Do you think that means he has the spot? Do you think that just means, like what he said, he's the front runner? Doesn't mean that he's secured it. Your thoughts on that, Hardwill?
I mean, when I heard it, I was like, that means it's no hope for Grimes or anyone else to start. Which I always ask the question, who's going to start at the 2? That's always something that I like to say because I know people don't want to say Fournier, even though they said Grimes. I knew Tibbs would go with Fournier because of the experience and he in good shape right now in the shooting, like he said. The shooting, and they try to break down in reference to Fournier's defense, where he spoke about how he gonna play better defense, or he could play better defense. He broke down reasons why he wasn't really good on defense, which made a little bit of sense, but something you got to really see. But I felt that Tibbs would go with him because just experience. Tibbs always go with the more experienced player. But it shocked me though for him to come out so soon.
Right. Well, we'll go around. Jarrell, your thoughts when you heard that, or if this is your first time hearing it?
I mean, this is actually my first time hearing it. I missed media day for the most part. I'm not shocked at all, to be honest. It's kind of like what we've been saying pretty much all summer when it comes to shooting and the people, how they're going to develop together when it comes to Brunson on the floor at the same time with RJ and Randall. So we obviously need shooting. Tibbs is right. A lot of people think Grimes should be the person in there because of his defense, but I don't know. I kind of always thought that Evan Fournier was going to be our starter. If Grimes does become the starter, I wouldn't be shocked at that either, but not in the beginning of the season. Maybe by All-Star break, Quentin Grimes get his, feet wet on the floor a little bit more. Maybe he could take over the position then. But I'm not shocked that Evan Fournier is named the starter now.
I was a big Grimes fan. And this is one of the things me and Hartwell was just talking about before the show, how you have your opinions, you listen to other people, you listen to the chat, and it kind of changes it, a little bit. I was all for Grimes, starting, but at the end of the day, Freezy, a few other people said, what has he done? He is a real small sample size, right? He was shooting
Right.
like 46% or something from three prior to the injury. After the injury, his shooting percentage went down. He wasn't very efficient in summer league for various, for various reason. And I think we are underrating experience. And I think we also underrating Rose, Fournier. There's one of Brunson. It's probably the only people on our team, in my opinion, that probably know how to win. You know,
Yeah.
Brunson in high school and college, and then he performed very well in the Western Conference Finals. Fournier, I think he went to the playoffs once with Orlando, but really it's his Olympic experience.
Hmm.
Kind of knowing what it takes to perform game in and game out. And Rose, when we did go to the playoffs, to me, he was our best player.
Yeah, he was. He just ran out of gas. That's all.
Like
That's
they
right.
was stuck like a deer in headlights, and he was just performing like what? What's
Right.
what's the problem? So we're gonna need that, and I still think Grimes is gonna play a lot of minutes. And to your point, he'll have the opportunity, I believe, later on in the season to overtake Fournier, and he might even close games because that there were games last season Fournier did not close.
Right. There's a lot of them.
Yeah. Stafford, your thoughts when you heard that?
When I first heard it, I said shout out to Jarrell because he first called it.
Sorry.
Shout out to
That
Jarrell because
what
he
you
first.
was giving him the heat about?
I'm sorry.
Was that one of the issues you was giving him the business about?
Hmm.
Yes, I was because I'm a big Grimes fan. So and I wanted him to start. Just like what he said, his defense.
Hmm.
But just to what you said, when Freezy came on that particular night and he started calling out his efficiencies and he only averaged 6 points and this and that and the third, I had us to fall back a little bit and think about it. And then I thought about the experience and the shooting and to what Hard will say to I think, his Olympic experience. Well, you said that, my bad.
Yeah.
To his Olympic experience, and then winning a silver medal. So, he's battle tested, you know. I would say the same thing too. He's the front runner, but it's his position to lose if he messes up.
Right. It doesn't mean it's locked in stone. That's
Right. So, I'm gonna go ahead and give him the edge, but like you just said, in that fourth quarter, if he's not performing, you're gonna see Grimes, and maybe at the All-Star break, as Jarrell said, he may get his start, depending on depending on where we at in the season and the standings.
right.
He might get a start. But yeah, so that's my take.
All right. Let me bring Josh in before I get to Eddie C and Tsunami speaks. So I guess we have retired the bowling chick.
We retired the bowling chick.
It was too much to type, y'all. Come on.
All right. Salute, Josh. We'll get around to you, Eddie
Salute,
C.
Josh.
Your thoughts when you heard Tom Thibodeau speak?
I mean, there's a lot of points that I could go to, but I'm not gonna go through all that on the first topic. To me, I kind of feel like this is like kind of like a football scenario. Like since Tsunami's here, I'm gonna talk about the Jets. Like Michael Carter's the running back for the Jets right now, but we all know that Brees Hall is gonna be, the running back for the Jets sooner or later. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't surprise me at all that Thibodeau said what he said. That's what he usually does. He doesn't stray away from his script. So this nothing that surprises me in what he said there. On the other hand, I also think that probably Fournier might have a better year than he had last year. So it's a great problem to have And last show I was kind of leaning towards 6 seed. I'm gonna stick with that. If this team really gels together, we can be as good as a top six team in the East. So if we have enough pieces at different positions as they all play well, and if they don't play well, we still have somebody to supplement them with. We're gonna be okay no matter what.
Okay. All right. Tsunami, before we get to Josh, your thoughts when you first heard Tibbs say Fournier was the front runner?
I gotta say first that Eddie always comes in with the optimism, and I'm so here for it. Bring it into the show. Okay, Josh. That said, when I first heard it, I was surprised, but after kind of thinking it through, it makes sense that he would say that. He should have the edge. He's the veteran. He has the experience. He just came out of Eurobasket, and is probably in the best shape of everyone not named Randall right now, or maybe RJ too. So he should have the edge.
Mm-hmm.
That said, with with training camp and preseason starting, that doesn't mean that Grimes doesn't have an opportunity, or or even Cam doesn't have an opportunity. He just said he was asked the question directly about who was start or who has the edge, so he
Right.
answered directly. So I don't think it's something that we should pour too much energy to. He should have the edge in general. Why would Grimes be the starter? Why would Grimes have the edge right away from Tibbs? It would have been shocking if we had heard the reverse.
Right. That's a good point. Josh?
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Good evening. To answer your question, Queen, I had no problem with what Tom Thibodeau said. Absolutely no problem at all, and I expected it. Listen, I think a lot of Knicks fans kind of get confused. They think that just because someone is not starting, that they're not playing, and I think that's where the confusion and the anxiety comes amongst the fan base. Listen, the last 3 years, every Knick rookie that they drafted, their minutes increased from year 1 to year 2. Quentin Grimes will play. No doubt in my mind, Quentin Grimes, he's going to play. Evan Fournier has earned that starting role. He didn't do anything to lose it, in my opinion. He hit the most three-pointers out of any player in the NBA since the All-Star break last season, one of the best three-point shooters in the league. Him and Julius Randle have a rapport already. Why would Tom Thibodeau take him out of the starting lineup in favor of Grimes? To me, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I know as a fan and us, drafting our own people, I do want to see Grimes eventually get his opportunity, but he's going to have to earn that. And like I tell everyone, I like when Tom Thibodeau says these young guys have to earn their spot. And I'm totally comfortable with that. I think that he left the door open for that, but I have no problem with Evan Fournier coming out the gate starting in the starting lineup.
What about? I mean, I get that, and I agree with that point. But what about? Is the drop off that significant between Fournier and Grimes when you take into account what you're going to get defensively?
No, I don't think the drop off is significant at all. I don't think this is of saying Evan Fournier is way better than Quentin Grimes. I don't think that's what this is about. This is about Evan Fournier earning his spot, and Quentin Grimes has not done enough, in Tibbs' opinion at least, to earn that starting role over Evan Fournier. He can definitely do it. That's possible depending on where the team goes this season and how Evan Fournier, comes out the gate. But simply put, Quentin Grimes has to earn that spot, and I don't think he has done enough to earn that spot in Tibbs' mind. At least yet.
Right. Anybody else? Any thoughts about the shooting not being that far off and what you're going to get defensively?
I think that's why Tibbs mentioned Mitchell Robinson in the same take reference to rim protection. If he put Fournier out there and they started speaking about the defensive side of it. But I feel like what I get from it is more of if they saying they want to develop the guys, and what you just mentioned as far as like Fournier and Grimes not that being that far apart, how many more games would you get with Fournier than Grimes? And Grimes, is that really helping Grimes? I mean, he still should come off the bench to me, like Josh just said. But I'm talking about a developmental point is what they saying they doing, and I don't see it. If it don't work, then it's the same kind of thing to me.
But how is that?
If you start Fournier, even though I feel like I said it too, Josh. I agree with you. Fournier should start in that situation, but Fournier was just everybody wanted to move him. I'm just going off of the situation of moving these guys so these other guys could play and develop. So that's what I get from it. She asked me what I got from it, so I just said what I got. I did say I agree with I believed already Tibbs was going to do that. So, you know.
Real quick, Queen. Well, here's what I disagree with. I don't understand how this is a lack of development. Like, just because someone is not starting does not mean they're not developing. I think that's where we disagree, Will. Like, you can come off the bench and you can develop off the bench. What about mental toughness? What about earning your spot? That's a part of development too. Like, and if this is about minutes on the floor, if you want to see Quentin Grimes' minutes go up, not you, but in general, if people want to see Quentin Grimes play on the floor more, if you look at the track record of the Knicks over the last couple of years, the second year guys are gonna get more time on the floor. But that's just because they're not starting does not mean that it's somehow hampering their development. I think a real key part about development for young players especially is up here, is mental. And I think earning your spot makes players mentally tough by earning it.
I said this before. If the player that plays in front of that person doesn't move the needle and they don't get, it's like, to me, and in that situation, I agree that Fournier fits the description better to start, especially with Tibbs coaching. But if you sacrifice minutes, or we could just say minutes and not starting, for players that don't get you to the playoffs, and you heard me say that before, that's how I look at it. You could take the starting thing out and say, okay, cool, his minutes got to be there still, though. But if Fournier's playing good, the minutes won't be there like that. And that's what I mean about the development part with Tibbs. And I've said that before. You heard me say it before. You know what I'm saying?
This is what I will say. We always say it's Tibbs, but trust and believe the front office is in lockstep with Tibbs. Like, this is not about Tibbs saying, oh, the front office, not that he's saying this, but thinking the front office wants us to tank. The front office wants me to sit Randall and sit Fournier and sit these vets. And we can talk about that false narrative as well.
Right.
But I'm here to win. And I'm just going to go out and play the best players that can win. The front office is in agreement with that.
Exactly.
Because the front office had every opportunity, maybe not during the season, but if they had shifted course in the offseason, they had every opportunity to let Thibodeau go. So we always say it's Tibbs that's, playing to win and sacrificing the young guys for wins. The front office is lockstep with that because they had every opportunity to go in a different direction. And the second thing I'll say about that, and I've said this before, going with young guys exclusively, development over winning. Now, to me, I'm with Josh. You can develop and win.
Yes.
But there's some organizations that choose development over winning, meaning that we're going to give them this minutes, and if we win, we win, and if we don't, we don't. That's an organizational decision that starts at the top. And the organizations, Detroit, OKC, they get rid of the vets. And so it's clear the direction that they're going in. San Antonio traded DeJounte. It's clear their direction. It starts at the top. You don't put that on a coach. I'm gonna give you these talented vets. Well, again, we'll talk about that later.
But you can't use them.
But you can't use them because we're prioritizing the youth. Nah, you're not doing that to me. I was brought here to coach to win. So what you need to do is move these vets. You understand? So those type of decisions start at the top. And the fact that the Knicks didn't do it is, and there's been multiple indications, the Knicks as an organization is playing to win, not just Tibbs. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? Anybody disagree? I mean, it's fine. It's a conversation we can have.
I agree 100%.
Over again.
I agree 100%. If that was the case, if that was the case, we would have drafted Usman Dang at 11, and we would have kept what's his name at 13, and we would have not signed Mitchell Robinson. We would have not gave a shot to anybody else. We would have developed those guys, but we're going in a different direction. I'm okay with that. Like I said, man, there's only 4 teams that I'm willing to say got their spot solidified. Everything else is up for grabs.
Right. And
but
shout
they
out
did the same thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they did the same thing to me a little last season. And I felt like when they gave the minutes to players, now they want the other players to just be better this season coming. Burks ain't here no more. I always looked at it that way, and that I could look at it in that same point. Great point about starting. I agree, but you got to look at the minutes and adjustments to, if they don't move the needle and get them to the playoffs and do certain things, then those guys aren't looking at those older players like they learning or they're worth the experience, because they may feel like they could do better. That's where the confusion comes in at to me, as far as like what you say, is it Tibbs or, and one last point is Leon Rose said he's letting Tibbs make all the coaching decisions in his interview on his own. So
Yes,
I hope that's really what it is, or you can't believe everything you hear. But that's just my last take on the whole situation.
I mean, I think Tibbs is making the coaching decision, but I'm saying the front office sets the direction. And absolutely, once you have the players, it's up to Tibbs who's going to be in the rotation, and it's supposed to be that way. Well, in my opinion, I believe it should be that way. Shout out to Greg, always rocking with us. Why are we still defending Tibbs and Randall, Stephanie?
Not our government name.
I don't think we mentioned Julius Randle one time. I don't think Julius Randle got mentioned at all since we even.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what
right. You don't hold him accountable. Listen, I've talked about Randall ad nauseum, the parts of him that I think he needs to get better at, and the parts that I like, and the same thing about Tibbs. In this particular case, I'm just saying we're putting it on Tibbs to play, young players over vets that can play. Fournier can play. Fournier is 30 years old. We acting like he's 36. Randall is 27. He can play.
Right.
After Cam, you can argue that he's our most talented player. Now, whether he's able to access that talent, what's getting in the way of it, blah, 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 blah. But he's probably our most talented player. I mean, you can argue, Cam is. I'm just pointing out the organization has to set the direction of the team. You don't put that on the coach. He's going to coach to win. That's why you hired him.
Can I say one thing along with Hallwell's point? Absolutely agree with Hallwell as far as the minutes depending on the team's direction. But let me just ask the panel a question. Does anybody know who led the Knicks in fourth quarter minutes last year?
RJ?
Nope.
I had to guess.
Emmanuel Quickly.
I was about to say IQ.
Emmanuel Quickly.
Fournier didn't play much fourth quarter minutes.
Right.
Like I always said that was going to be the backcourt in the fourth quarter is going to be Brunson and IQ.
Let's see what happens this year, because Derrick Rose looks to be back.
Yeah, and the team is making him a focus in all the marketing right now. So I'm guessing he's going to have a more prominent role than we were expecting, than maybe some of us were expecting.
If he's
he
healthy.
probably plays together with IQ. That backcourt always seems to do pretty well together.
And people said he was going to be situational. And I told y'all he ain't going to be situational. He going to play. He's definitely going to play.
Yeah, I don't think the coach sends emails in the summer for you to lose weight and get in shape if you're not going to have a prominent role.
Emails.
We'll see. We'll just see how he holds up, man. He hasn't played over 50 games in a very long time. So.
Since 2017 or 16, one of those.
Right. Any thoughts? So when I first heard that, Fournier was the front runner, I didn't even think that just means he has to step up. I just thought like, all right, this is his job. This is not even going to be a competition in training camp. And that got me thinking about Cam. Does Cam have an opportunity in training camp? Or I started to feel like Cam didn't have an opportunity once Fournier was almost knighted the spot. Did anybody else have that thought? Or do you still feel like it's an open competition for, well, where was he? Yeah, I don't even say. Yeah, I mean, where? Anyway, I'll leave that to the panel.
I was going to say, I just think Cam is the odd man out. Unfortunately, talented as he is, due to his injury history, and he's the last person to join this team other than Brunson. Small sample size. I just think that he's going to be stuck behind RJ. That's not going to be enough minutes for him. That's all.
I agree. I thought he was an odd man out last year. There was reports saying that Tibbs didn't really want him because he didn't see not that he didn't like him, but he didn't see a role for him on the team. And that was with Rose out. Now with Rose back, and then we all assume that Rose is going to have a prominent role. I agree. I think we might be looking at combination of or Cam Reddish or a combination of him and Derrick Rose probably traded at the deadline. I've always said that.
Derrick Rose traded at the deadline?
I think that's a possibility too. Depending on how the
Wow.
team performs.
But they would have to step over Tom Thibodeau to make it happen, and they have, and they
Over his dead body.
decisions that Tom
Over his-
Thibodeau.
No, what Josh said, a key point. Depending on how the team is operating, you know what I mean. So if the team is not operating at a over 500, and we not in striking distance, Derrick Rose may want to trade to a contending team because he ain't getting no older, Queen. So I gotta agree with Josh on that one. It could be a possibility depending on where the team is at that particular point of this season.
Okay. Back to Fournier, one last question. Do you think Fournier gives us the best chance to win a particular game, to have a winning season? Do you feel that, yes, he's the veteran, yes, he has the experience, but does he give us the best chance to win?
In Boston. He plays lights out over there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Every game is in Boston.
Yeah. All 82.
I feel like the shooting guard position is one of the toughest positions in the NBA, and I felt the same way. Even if Grimes played it, you got to play some of the best players in the NBA. And if you can't really go off the dribble, if everybody got to create for you, to me, that's a problem. I think Fournier should be on the team where, he could just catch and shoot type of team. We need a player who could create a shot and create a little bit more than Fournier.
But Will, when you
my opinion.
Yeah. When you was first talking, I thought you was describing Grimes when you said just a catch and shoot guy who can't create off the dribble. I thought you was talking about Grimes because Fournier can put the ball on the floor. I think his role on the Knicks was somewhat limited. I don't think he came in as a 3-point shooter putting up 8 3-pointers a game. That wasn't his role prior to coming to the Knicks, but I think he just had to find his place, in this offense, and that's what he and the coaching staff kind of settled on. He was going to play off of those other guys, and this is how he can be effective, just becoming a catch and shoot guy. But I think he has more than that. Grimes, on the other hand, may have more than that, but is yet to be seen. Like Grimes to me right now is more of a catch and shoot guy who has that potential, but we really haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I believe they use Fournier to his best ability, like what he do best. He broke a record. He shot the ball pretty well, but I don't really see him as a guy who could create a shot for anybody or drive in the lane. I think we got the type of team that need more players like that. We can't really rely only on Brunson to do that. And I think the shooting guard position with somebody like that, it helps. Maybe Grimes ain't ready for that neither. I agree with you, Queen, on that take. But I never really saw Fournier. I think he got like a little floater. He got a couple moves, going by when he throw the ball fake when you close out on his three. But he's not really real good off the dribble.
And Fournier did that, and not having a great relationship with the best player on the team, Julius Randle. You can imagine another year with him. I think having Isaiah Hartenstein with him, somebody that he can probably have a little bit peas in the pod type relationship with, will help him. Having Jalen Brunson there, who kind of feels like the first day I saw him in the media day, kind of feels like he has that. What's the kid that we had on the bench that never played? That Theo Pinson type. That Theo Pinson type feel to him. You know what I'm saying? That he can gather the troops and make everything light. So, all these things are going to factor into having Evan Fournier having a better year than last year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think his relationship with Randall is better, unless they were faking during media day.
At the beginning, it was harsh, but that's what I'm saying. A year under the belt, time strengthens bonds. So,
yeah. And then I think also that Fournier wasn't backing down from Randall at all. Period.
He never struck me as that type of guy.
Nah. He's not. But Randall said in the press conference that's his guy.
He had a good season considering all that. He had a decent season for me.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah. And it remains to be seen in this offense. If they're running more, if there's more ball movement, I think we're going to see a better Evan Evan Fournier.
I agree with that too.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Cam. Well, did we exhaust that in terms of whether or not we feel he's going to get a fair shot in camp? I know 2 people said that they think he's just out of the rotation period. So I take it we're going to go with a 3-guard rotation: Rose, IQ, and Grimes in that second unit with Obi and Hartenstein. I mean, I'm a little disappointed in that. It's a tough, it's tough for the coaching staff to kind of make these decisions. But I, for one, wanted to see Cam in training camp and wanted to see him get a fair shot, and hopefully he does in preseason, because that skill set we can use.
Well, Queen, I've been saying he was an odd man out. I've been saying that he may get traded because of his contract, and I'm very surprised that Gerald, out of all people, Mr. Cam number 1, actually bowed down to saying that he's out of rotation. So I am very shocked. But I've been saying he was the odd man out, because we talked about it, Queen. The amount of minutes that Grimes is probably going to play, Quickly is going to play, Rose is coming back. Where is he going to prove himself? Right? Unless he comes into training camp and plays lights out and beats out one of those guys and earn his spot, like Josh said, he has to earn it. So I don't know. It's that I still believe he's an odd man out, and it's going to be tough for him to get minutes, in my opinion.
Are we a better team with Cam Reddish not in the rotation? Like those guys that are in the rotation, Grimes, IQ, Rose.
No,
I think we're better with him on the team.
Exactly.
Right.
I can see. I mean, the NBA is so topsy turvy. It's like, okay, let's put some examples. Like maybe one of these games there's a blowout, and Cam could get in the fourth quarter, and he can show you some things. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, he gets into the statistics, and once he gets 10 minutes under his belt, he shot this percentage, and he did this, and he did that, right? Let's say somebody got a little nicked up. Cam has to step up and play within the first 15 games of the season. And all those things start adding up. And once you look at the numbers, maybe Cam is only playing 10 to 12 minutes per game at that point, right? But the numbers look so good that maybe you can get an asset for him. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you can trade another asset and keep him around if you like what you see. So I'm hoping that there's a way that he can get in. And I've seen the NBA long enough to know that things like this do happen. People do get nicked up. There's blowouts in the situation. People get hurt during games. There's different types of avenues where people could get minutes, where he can show what he's got. Once he gets on the court and he shows what he got, or he shows what he doesn't have, then you take the course of action at that point.
Queen, I disagree. I don't think we're a better team with Cam Reddish. I don't think we're a better team with Cam Reddish. And I know everyone's looking. I know everyone's looking at the talent and what we have been hoping to see from Cam, whether it be last season or some of that, what he was doing in Atlanta or what have you. But I just don't think for this group of guys, for this team, I know he potentially can fill that need, but we had that need last season. And when Cam Reddish was on the floor, he ain't performed. Straight like that. This whole, image that we all have of Cam Reddish and being that guy, limited minutes or not, he didn't perform. He didn't have a good showing as a Knick last season. And on top of that, he's always hurt. He's injury prone. So I don't think this, where our rotation is better by having Cam Reddish in there, particularly if he's not going to play. That's just the way I feel about that.
But if we doing clean slate, sorry, guys.
Yeah, and then you can go, Tsunami.
Okay.
All I was just going to say is, like, he didn't come out the gates hot for the Knicks, but towards the very end, right before he got hurt, he was starting to ball out. He played well for the last 2 games prior to that. Played very well against the Clippers, for example. And then he got hurt right after that. I mean, you can't say that we haven't seen flashes. He's shown his versatility. He's shown his prowess getting into the lane. He's shown his ability to score at all 3 levels. You can't say we didn't see it. The problem is he just didn't get enough of an opportunity. It sucks. It's not Tibbs' fault he got hurt, so I understand that. But I can't say that we're not better with Cam. We all know
I
what
slightly
his ceiling
disagree.
is. We have to see it though. I mean, if I think what Har was about to say was what I was going to say as well. Is that if it's going to be a clean slate, then we should be able to see that opportunity in training camp. Supposedly, the question is Tibbs going to?
Well,
do that?
regardless,
I just
we
don't
don't
see it.
have access to training camp anyway, so we won't be able to see
Of
it until
course,
they
right?
actually step on the
Right.
floor in the preseason.
Right.
So there's no way for us to see it until it actually
You want a
shows
clean
up on the
slate
board.
for Julius, for Tibbs. You want a clean slate, like she said, right? Come on. Go ahead, finish, Tsunami. Finish killing your take. Go ahead. You doing good.
I ain't got a lot more. I just want to see what it looks like. Can we see him play some damn minutes in this preseason and Tibbs make a decision off of that before he, makes his final decision? I know that
they've
we
been
want to see
practicing though for a month though. They've been practicing together for about a month. So
I thought training camp just effectively started yesterday.
it did.
Today.
And that part is so frustrating because that lineup of Jericho Sims, Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, Quentin Grimes, what's the other kid's name? Deuce. That team could defend, man, and that team did some nice little things at the end of the year, where it's like, yo, you give them some time, you give them some, you let it grow. It's gonna be very nice to see, man, and the opportunities for a player like Jericho Sims is frustrating that I'm not gonna be able to see Jericho Sims out there. You know what I'm saying? Because we have Mitchell Robinson, because we have Isaiah Hartenstein, because we can even play Randall at the 5. Where we want to see Obi Toppin and Randall play. You know what I'm saying? So they got to find a way to do this.
Listen, we're too deep at every position. You start moving people down and up the roster, and that's less minutes for someone else. You playing Randall at the 5, that's less minutes for Hartenstein. You moving Randall to the 3, that's less minutes for Cam or whoever is backing up RJ. We're too deep at every position. At center, if you can argue that we're 3 deep, with Sims. So the more we trying to move things around, the less minutes they're gonna be for other players, and which means as much as we think there's gonna be more minutes for some of these guys, I think there may be less minutes. How many minutes, we've talked about this, how many minutes is gonna be left behind Brunson? If they're gonna start Rose, that's perfect. 12 minutes, because that's all it's gonna be, 12 to 14 minutes. How many minutes is gonna be if you're playing, if it's Cam or Grimes, whoever is playing behind RJ? How many minutes are you getting? Obi's playing behind Julius Randle. Oh, he's gonna get more minutes. How?
So that's what I'm saying. So there's something a shoe has to drop. A shoe has to drop, because if you just said right now, if 12 minutes was left for Derrick Rose, where is Emmanuel quickly going to get his minutes if Quentin Grimes is the backup to what's his name? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where are we going to find minutes for these guys? So a shoe has to drop and from here until training camp finishes, we'll most likely get some news.
Well, Grimes could probably, if they're not playing Cam, it's going to be a 3-guard lineup. So Grimes will probably play the 3. He'll be undersized defensively, but he'll probably play the 3. Quickly will play behind Fournier. I mean,
Queen, I'm sorry to Tsunami, but there's no consistency with Cam. You talking about streaky and flashes. I'm tired of people saying we saw flashes in this. We need consistency out of this kid. We need him to be healthy all season so we could see what he had. You know what I mean? I feel sorry for him that he had injuries in Atlanta. I feel sorry that he had injuries coming in to the Knicks and he was getting on his way. But look, if you're not healthy, what's they always say? The best availability is your what?
The best availability is availability.
Exactly, and that's what he is not, Tsunami. And look, I'm willing to give him a clean slate, but if you can't prove it for a number 10 pick, and I always say that to you, he's a number 10 pick, top 10 pick, and he's been in the league for over 4 years. I do not know what you want.
Coming in. Well, this will be his 4th year.
This will be his 4th year.
Yeah, and we didn't draft him, so that's the pick doesn't matter now. But my point was, how's he going to be consistent if he doesn't get any minutes? We got to see it.
Well, that goes back.
Listen, Hold on, Josh. He had his opportunity in Atlanta. What did I always say before? You get a Kevin Herter, and you let that other guy from Virginia come and take your spot. So I don't want to hear no excuses, Tsunami. Stop it.
I'm talking about what he's doing on
Go
the
ahead,
Knicks.
Josh.
Go off.
No. Well, listen, Tsunami. I mean, I don't agree totally with Stafford Don, but he's not way off here. Last season, there was no like Tom Thibodeau could not use Cam Reddish in a rotation. Period. He just couldn't. We traded Kevin Knox and a conditional first-round pick to bring in Cam Reddish well, it was a conditional first-round pick. It wasn't unprotected. It was one of those once we had stashed away. The Knicks took a flyer on Cam Reddish. You know, it's an ability. You know, a way to increase the talent on the roster, right? But really, there was no space in the rotation for him to play. And when he did get an opportunity to play, he didn't take advantage of his opportunity. Period. Point blank. Simple. And I think that's what clean slate is for Cam Reddish. Like you're not giving Cam Reddish the same clean slate you're giving RJ Barrett. I mean, to me, a clean slate doesn't mean everyone's going to get the same amount of minutes. And I think that's where I'm not sure if you're saying that or if the fans kind of think that's what it is, but that's not what a clean slate is. For Cam Reddish and his role in the context of that, Cam Reddish's role is to be outside of the rotation. That's what a clean slate is for him. He has to work his way inside the rotation.
Now, I think the whole thing, what you saying, like Tibbs is saying, you got to earn your spot. Then he come out and say Fournier starting. It's a bunch of crap. Like you got to that doesn't even make sense when you think about it. Like when you saying Tibbs is saying everybody got to earn their spot, right? But then he just come out and say Fournier starting. That's what he said. Fournier's starting. Why? Why would you even say that if you're saying people got to earn their spot?
Yeah, that was very confusing.
Don't make sense.
Well, he said he's
that's confusing to me.
He said he's the front
yeah.
one.
And then when he was leaving, he said, yeah, he basically got the spot. Like the guy asked him, he's the
okay. So Harwell, let me ask you that: does RJ earn his spot?
Huh?
Does RJ earn his spot? But why? He hasn't played a game yet. Based on what you're saying. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. A clean slate for everybody. A clean slate for everybody is not the same. Literally not the same.
That's a good point. Because there are some players from last season who automatically have a spot. So I don't think it's a clean slate. That's a very good point. That everybody, like, there's no starters, and everybody is going to come in with an equal opportunity to start. You know, there's some people who do have the edge.
Never in the history of basketball.
But I think the point is what I'm hearing more of, like when you bring up developing too, like he just mentioned about. Eddie mentioned it about Sims, all these other players, Obi, Quickly, their minutes. You said it too, Queen. Like, how's that gonna look? And if these guys are playing and it don't work, then the Derrick Roses, the Fournier, you're gonna need some older players, but the minutes got to be balanced properly. If you ask me, But
this is the thing: the people that's playing in front of them are young too.
Right.
You know what I mean? The people that's RJ is playing in front of Cam, let's just say, or playing in front of Grimes. RJ is young too.
Hartenstein's 24. Brunson's 24.
You know, those guys are young too. And I think that's the false narrative that we continue to play, even though I believe we're younger than we were last year. And it's still this narrative of playing vets over the young player. This entire team is young. Mitch is starting. Brunson is starting. RJ is starting. Those guys are young. Randall is 27. You know, Brunson is 30. We acting like he's 36. This is a young team. The young guys are going to be able to play. I think what we might be asking is, we want the young players. We want the Knicks to prioritize development over winning. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Knicks are going to try to win and develop while they're trying to win. They're not going to prioritize development, whether we win or not. Let's put IQ at the point guard and give him 30 minutes, whether we win or not. Well, if that's what you wanted to do, why you even sign Brunson?
Right.
You know, let's put whoever. Let's put Obi at power forward. Whether we lose or not, it doesn't matter. We just want him.
The Deuce fans too.
Right. We just want him to get. We just want him to get minutes and develop for the future. He may not even be here in the future. So, you know, I think. Go ahead, Harbaugh.
No, I was just saying I was mainly talking about the few vets that we talking about that's in the minutes that we was discussing. Fournier, Rose, even Randall, even though he's young, but it's still a few vets that we may need, but they gonna be in front of these guys in reference to, like, I think even though Fournier, we say he could start, he may be better coming off the bench and developmental reasons for Grimes to get better if we don't win with Fournier there, because I don't think he's that good at the two in my opinion. But we have no choice. But if because what Tibbs is doing, but if we're gonna build a team up to prepare for us to be a good team, I think that's necessary. Some points, if it don't work, then that's what they keep trying to do. They doubling back now, expecting quickly to play better, expecting Obi and these guys to play better, and they ain't really getting that chance. If they do that again, then I think it's because really, what we talked about too, Queen. They planned on moving some of these guys, so it just causes a lot of confusion when you planned on moving some of these guys. Now they still here. Now you're not really sure. So maybe I sound like I'm all over the place, but that's really what's going on.
The reason they tried to
We're
move
all over
him,
the place.
right? The reason they tried to move him is because I don't think they see them as the core of a championship team, and I think that's kind of where, at least I and a lot of the fan base, differ. We keep talking about, or I hear the fan base keep talking about, get rid of F. You got 3 vets on the team, a 15 roster team.
It's true.
You got 3 vets. Oh, get rid of Randall, 27. Get rid of Fournier, 30. Get rid of a guard. Derrick Rose is only going to play like 12 minutes. You know what I mean? I just think we're overplaying the vet young guy. It's overplayed, and I think at this point it's played out. This is a young team, right? And the best young players are starting. Mitch, Brunson, RJ, those are our best young players. They are starting. Quickly is not better than Brunson. Well, why should he start over him? You know what I mean? And he's gonna get minutes.
Mm-hmm. Queen, the average age of the Knicks roster is 25 years old. Last year it was 27 years old, which was right in the middle of the average. Now at 25, they're like one of the youngest teams in the NBA, the top 10 youngest teams in the NBA, based on average.
We want an average age of 23. With 25 is the average age of the Knicks. I mean, come on. And I think the other thing is the idea that this is the young player's personal playground. It's not about winning. It's not about the organization. It's not about the fans. This is just Obi Toppin's personal playground to groom him for 2 and 3 years down the line when he may not even be a Knick. This is IQ's personal playground to groom him, whether we win, whether we lose, whatever the narratives are around the Knick and organization, whether we are ever able to be appealing to a free agent, none of that matters. What matters is we give IQ and Obi Toppin all the minutes they can handle for 2 and 3 years down the line. And newsflash, more minutes don't mean you're going to develop faster. Yep. More minutes don't mean you're going to be a better player.
No.
And Queen,
better player.
That's true.
It can also prove that you can be a bum faster too.
At least you know what you got. You know you got to know what you got.
I think they know what they got though. I think they know what they got though. They tried to trade him. I think they know what they got. They tried to trade him.
I understand that, but you can't try to trade everybody and then try to sell the same people back to us like they're gonna.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
That's what I don't agree with. That's what I just don't agree with.
I agree with that.
But they're politicians. You know what I mean? Oh, RJ, we building a strong foundation. He was just in a trade yesterday.
Right.
Yeah. So that part I agree with. Somebody was going to say something.
Yeah, I was saying to Josh's point about the whole 25 and younger, you got to understand most of the young players coming back has been playing for like 2 to 3 years together. So, even though we are the youngest team, one of the youngest team, we still got continuity, if you understand what I mean. Because, they've been playing together and gelling together for about 2-3 years now. So, we should be more familiar with each other going into the season than probably a Houston or Orlando or, a Detroit where they're very young.
That's what I wanted to say in reference to that about the vets and the young.
Mhm.
When you look around what's going around the league, teams are already doing that, like how Stafford just mentioned Detroit's. But I agree, you do need vets. But my earlier take, I still stand on that. If the vets you got is not moving the needle, then you wasting time with these guys like we did with Burks, like we did. And it can happen again with Tibbs, with Rose, and because he has a history of overplaying players to try to go. And we can't knock him for trying to win, but you got to see sometime playing to be greater later. And I haven't seen us really try to do that.
But I think where we disagree is I think our young guys are developing in the moments that they're getting, and in the minutes that they're getting, and I don't think more minutes automatically mean you're going to be a better player. Look how many minutes Knox got as a rookie.
I mean,
when I saw him the third year, I was like, all right, he didn't look that much better. So just because you're getting minutes doesn't mean you're going to be a better player. Like, I think we all think everybody is equal. And if you water them the same way, they're going to grow the same way. And it's just not true. Some players are just more talented than others. You can give them all the minutes you want. They're just not going to be that guy. And I have a problem with, well, let's see. I don't really know, but let this be his personal playground and just let him go out there so we can see. Nah, this is a basketball game. I'm just saying you can push back hard. Will we good?
No, I agree with you. No, I agree with some of your points. I'm just talking about if it don't. We know what Rose could do. Rose got us to help us get to the playoffs. We know what these players could do. That's not the issue. If it don't work, then and we know some guys, but you still got to know what you have, and you got to know, you know what I'm saying, what guys could be. Pick these guys, and you got to see what they're going to be able to do. Obi could be better than he is with more minutes. Y'all don't agree with that?
I don't.
Well, hold on. To your point, towards the end of the season, we've seen Obi get more minutes, and we've seen what he can do. So
did he play better?
He did play better, but that goes down. I'm agreeing with you and agreeing with your point. You saying if it's not going anywhere, then let's see what's going to happen. That's exactly what happened last year. The Knicks were mathematically eliminated. They were eliminated from the playoffs, and we've seen Obi get more minutes, and we've seen Quickly get a lot more minutes, right? But like I said, players from year one to year two, if you look at what the Knicks have been doing, and just around the league, rookies to sophomores in general, you get more minutes as you are in the league longer, particularly starting off. Year one to year two, Quickly was 17 minutes or 21 minutes in his first year, went up to 25 in his second year, right? Someone else, 17 minutes, now they're up to 21. Quentin Grimes is going to get more time. He's going to get more playing time. It just hasn't happened naturally. You can't force it. And I just think that a lot of times the Knicks fan base is trying to force these kids out there and then, crap on them later, for lack of a better word.
Right. I think underestimating what it takes to win. And listen, if you're not worrying about winning, that's a different
story. Right, that's a different conversation.
But we're worrying about winning. Now, Ron, shout out to Ron. Where's his statement? Appreciate you rocking with us. I agree with that, Steph. My only pushback is that some of these young guys give us a better chance to win. Now, I'm trying to think and trying to be fair with your point. And all of the guys are young, so I'm really trying to get out of this narrative. But do you think Rose not playing, a healthy Rose, gives us a better chance of winning? Do you think Obi playing above Randall, like just switching those two out, give us a better chance of winning? Like, who do you think gives us a better chance of winning? Maybe Grimes over Fournier? Like, who gives us a better chance of winning?
Well, we talk about winning and we talk about the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter last season, Evan Fournier shot from 3 39%. Quentin Grimes shot 34% from 3. Free throw percentage, let's see. Evan Fournier shot, where's free throw percentage at? Evan Fournier shot 70%. Quentin Grimes shot 50% from the free throw line last year in the fourth quarter. So
neither one of them will be on the fourth quarter because IQ is probably going to take 30 minutes.
No, but he did anyway. He led the team in fourth quarter minutes last year. But I'm saying, like, what are we talking about? How can you say that some of these young guys give us the better chance to win? Like, statistically, that's not true. It's just not
Josh,
true.
I'm not saying that.
Josh, how many attempts did Grimes have in the fourth quarter from
3-point attempts?
Free throws. Like, did he shoot 4 and hit 2? I'm just curious.
Free throw attempts. Both of them were below 1 free throw attempt per in the fourth quarter. Both of them.
Right.
Yeah, I figured because I was like, for that to make sense,
But
even though I
he
don't.
only shoots 68%.
I was about to say Grimes
but
is not a good
50%
free
is
throw
pretty
shooter
egregious.
anyway.
Yeah, that's one of his. You got to work on that.
Right.
So
And I'm definitely not putting Obi over Randall in the fourth quarter. No hell,
That
no
what
way.
frustrates me. That frustrates me about
Nothing.
Cam Reddish, because Cam Reddish is a great free throw shooter. He
Yes,
should
he
be
is.
playing in the fourth quarters with Emmanuel Quickly, with Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? There should be
Now,
some minutes in there.
like
That's the
if
problem.
we have
That's
RJ,
the
that's not
problem.
gonna
But
happen.
that's what I'm saying is frustrating for him as a player because he shoots such a
Right.
great percentage from the free throw line that in the fourth quarter, when you get those fouls called, he should be on the line making those shots for us.
Well, he got to be able to get to the hole and get fouled and get to the line. You can't just put him on the free throw line. He has to actually get fouled. He has to have the ball in his hands. Well, no, I agree. I agree with you. But when he has the ball in his hands, he has to be creative and dynamic enough with the basketball to draw attention to get fouled. And he wasn't doing that last year with the minutes that he got. So I'm with you. We're saying the same thing.
Yeah, we are.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah. I don't. Greg, I'm gonna give you your airplay today, and I'm gonna ask the panel, Stephanie. I don't think you're on the same page as the majority of the fan base that wants to use the play regardless of wins and losses, so we can develop. No, I'm not on the same page with that,
bro.
because this is not the core to do that with, and I've said that before. We're not sitting on Cade Cunningham and Doran and Sadiq Bey, we're not sitting on
Ivy
and Chet Holmgren and those type of guys where regardless of wins and losses, you need those guys to get out there because you believe they are going to be stars. We're not sitting on that type of assets. So no.
Don't let me go for that.
No. Now, if we were sitting on Cade Cunningham and Doran, I would be right with you.
We'd be having a different conversation.
Let them bake. We're not trading for nobody. Okay? So the reason why I'm not on the same page is because I believe these are rotation players. Don't get me wrong. I believe they can help us, but I don't believe they're stars and superstars that you just get them out there and let them develop regardless of wins and losses. You got to have the right core to do that. This ain't that core. So I am not on the same page. And quite frankly, I don't think the majority of the fan base is in agreement with that as well. But
and I'm tired of losing.
Let's go around the panel. We'll start.
I don't know.
Let's go around the panel. Stafford, are you in agreement that play the youth regardless of whether we win or lose?
We go into the lottery once we do that. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We go into the lottery if
he froze the internet.
and I don't know how old Greg is, but bro, I've been suffering from a Knicks fan since we lost in '95 to Houston. And we never have a winning season until 2013. And then the last year before we had a winning season. So I've been losing a long time, bro. You want us to just play the youth and just go to the lottery every year like Orlando and OKC and all these teams? No, bro. Nah. It's time to put a winning product on the court, develop those guys like we've been doing for the past 3-4 years, and having continuity so we could build something. I mean, I just can't agree with that. Most of the fan base, I don't think so.
But that's what we've been doing. We have been going through the lottery. We haven't been going to the playoffs. We've been going to the lottery.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of going to the lottery.
No, so listen, I'm comfortable with the Knicks drafting, and they're not trading the draft picks away like they did years before. It's totally different now. The thing is, you have to draft the right guy. I've been saying this for the longest time. You have to draft the right guy. Obi, I like Obi as a player. I personally want the Knicks to draft Obi during that draft night, right? But, I mean, who was available? Denny Avdija was available. Halliburton was available, right? He would have been the right guy, right? So we have to draft the right guy. You can't just, building through the draft is not just about, maintaining your draft picks, but you also have to have That one guy that you can build your franchise around. And we still have questions about who is that guy going to be. Like everyone wants it to be RJ. The front office is trying to sell us on RJ, but I'm too hip for that.
Right. And somebody else said you have to build through the draft. You got to hit in the draft. Right. The Knicks have been trying to build through the draft. We went to the playoffs in 2013 and 2020. So the Knicks have been trying to build through the draft. We've been getting top 10 pick after top 10 pick after top 10 pick. We haven't hit. You guys are acting like we've skipped the lottery. Right. We've been there in the lottery. We just haven't hit. So building through the draft is not easy. You have to hit, and we haven't hit on any players. I think RJ is the closest since Patrick Ewing. We haven't hit on a draft pick.
I think we haven't been able to move up either. We haven't been able to really get the guy that we really wanted.
But I don't think you have to move up. You can find talent. Devin Booker was drafted 13. We drafted Porzingis at 4. Yeah, we could have drafted Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell.
I think the fan base don't realize that we're terrible drafters. We were terrible at drafting before Leon Rose got here. Right. Terrible. Like we sucked before. Like in the last 15 years, we were terrible at drafting. And a lot of people just don't want to admit that.
Right.
Click Anthony early and all these dumb picks that we picked. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Look at the superstars around the league. I mean, I would think there's about just as many outside of the top 10 that was in the top 10.
Yep.
Right.
So it's not about, we need to tank every year so we can get a top 5 pick. That's going to increase our chances. No, you need to draft well. Donovan Mitchell, 11. Paul George, I'm not sure. Was Paul George top 10? Might have been. No?
I don't think so.
I think it was like 12 or something like
that. Yeah, 12 or 13, something like that.
What was Kawhi?
Embiid was 15.
Right. Embiid was top 10. Luka was top 10, but a lot of these superstars are not top 10 players. So we got to stop fantasizing that. Keep going to the draft every year, but you got to tank really hard so that you could get a top 5. A lot of these drafts, they don't even have franchise players in the top 10 picks. They just
I think Giannis was 15.
Booker, Giannis. The list goes on and on around the NBA.
People outside of the top 10. So
Djokovic.
Correct. Right.
Djokovic, Jimmy Butler.
I would just say this point though. I think when those players were getting drafted, there were some teams that just were ahead of the curve when it came to drafting like players from international and just having the analytics ahead of other teams. Because the New York Knicks was one of the teams that got to that at the end. You know what I'm saying? They had trouble with stuff like that. And they were just teams that were better. San Antonio was just better at drafting, international players. So Giannis did fall, but now everybody's on it. So now it's even tougher to not get those. You know what I'm saying? Those players are getting drafted earlier. Scotty Barnes, you know what I'm saying? Analytical darlings are getting picked 4th in front of Jalen Suggs, who everybody thought was this and that. But because of the numbers. So I think nowadays is a little bit different than back in the day when Paul George was going 12th and DeMar DeRozan was going. You know what I'm saying? This is a different age. So people are more in tune into getting these types of players. What I will say is that the Knicks are good at getting players later on in the first round.
Right. But shout out to Thomas Big. They had to develop. But they had the talent to develop. You think that Jokic became Jokic because he got playing time? Like he wasn't a talented player? I mean, I agree they had to develop, but everybody doesn't develop into the same type of player. That's all I'm trying to say. Even given the same resources, even given the same amount of time. Hardwell?
I agree. All the players won't develop, but when, like Fulio said, when we saw Obi play more, we saw him play better. I think everybody that won't happen to, but more players it can happen to. My main point was, and to the chat, to some people that was saying, addressing me in the chat, I don't think Obi's better than Randall right now. No way. But if Randall isn't gonna move the needle and you sacrificing his development to me, because there's not enough minutes for him, that's always been my stance. So it's a lot of good points that you made though, Queen, as far as the roster and you see what a lot of these guys are, but do we really see already what these guys are as far as how it's been going with the minutes and how I'm not sure. I still got to see. I don't think they're going to like Quickly and Obi is going to be superstars or Grimes, but look at old numbers of a lot of all-stars or players early on in their career. They all in average a lot of points. So,
and they waited their time too.
Another example I thought about was the Cam situation, and I didn't get to say, I feel like on a team like this, when we get a pick like that, even though he has a lot of issues, I agree with Stafford Don and what y'all was saying about Cam, right? But on a team like this where we need the length and we can have another player that has an upside, this is the players that need to be getting the minutes. If players that's older players ain't moving the needle for us. That's just my last take on that, really. I just feel like it's a waste of time to be thinking Randall and Fournier could actually get us somewhere. When we asked what seed we gonna be, a lot of people were saying play in, and it's just confusing to me. Like I don't see what a lot of people see.
Right. But I hear what you're saying. Basically, you're saying it's not about playing the best players. If the best players don't get you somewhere, don't get you, I don't know, wherever you think
playoffs at least. Playoffs, you moving the needle. Even the guys playing behind you, they can see why they there. The experience is different. It's like I feel like the Knicks never had the right players on the team for these younger players to learn from. So if that's the case, then they feel like they could play over Fournier. I'm sure Grimes and these guys, I'm not saying just because they feel that way, they should be playing. It is a business, and Tibbs going to try to win, like you said. So I said you made a lot of great points, but if they don't win, then that's the sacrifice of these guys that we don't know who they are, who they could be. Last season, he doubled back and said he should have played this player more. He should have played this player more. That's because his plan didn't work, and Burks ain't here. That's just my take on it. Rose is still here. A couple players are still here. I feel like it should be better older players here that could really get us somewhere for guys to sit behind. And that's just how I look at it.
The only thing I'll push back slightly is I don't think we're sacrificing the development. I don't think that, if we don't get to the playoffs the average age is 25. Can we just the average age of this team is 25. I think we're putting too much on Fournier and Randall. Mitch is in that starting lineup. RJ's in that starting lineup. Brunson is in that starting lineup. All of the other guys are in the rotation. The Knicks' average age is 25. It's like we want them to be 23. Everybody in the starting lineup should be under 25. I mean, come on. But the point I'm trying to make is I don't think we're sacrificing their development because Randall and Fournier didn't get the team to the playoffs. Why are we putting so much on them? Right. RJ's in that starting lineup too. Brunson is in that starting lineup too. We always say, it's the vets' fault that we're not getting it. It's two of them.
Right.
So if we don't get there, why are we not looking at Brunson? Why are we not looking at RJ? Why are we not looking at Mitch? Why if we don't get there, it's Randall and Fournier's fault. That's only 2/5 of the starting lineup.
I think they're gonna move those guys if that was to happen, just per se hypothetically, and then they would look at RJ different because he's going into his 4th year. The upside, Randall going into his 9th year, Fournier getting older. That's just the difference in how I would look at it. Not making excuses for RJ, but when you look at the numbers, what he's trending to be is the same guys that we bring up. Like, you know what I mean? If we
you don't think the contracts have anything to do with that? Because you can say what you want about Randall's age compared to RJ. RJ is gonna be making more money than Randall next season. He's gonna be the highest paid player on the team.
No, that's just my point on the playing guys to win now. If we win, and then it's better for those guys experience wise, development wise. If we don't, that's just my stance on it. And I agree with Queen on most of the points of what she just said in reference to the situation. And you, that's just my stance. I'm making clear.
Yeah. And we can disagree. And Ajay, we're gonna get right into it. Get to you. Somebody said on Twitter, and I think it was a fire point. The Knicks fans is always talking about development. None of us are talking about winning. And it's true. We're not talking about winning. We're focused on making sure Obi gets time, making sure IQ gets time, making sure our young guys get time. The Knicks as an organization, the fan base, is not focused on winning. Like, how are we going to get to the playoffs this year? Are we getting back to the playoffs? What is it going to take for us to be championship contenders? What is it going to take? Like, nobody is thinking about that. Who can we trade for? What can we do so that we can become relevant and get back to the playoffs? It's no. Forget about winning. Let's develop Obi Toppin. Forget about winning. Like, as a fan base, what about winning?
Yeah.
That's the name of the game.
It's being done organically by some teams. Like, for instance, do you think we better than Detroit, or we will? Like, if we make any moves, how is that? Do you think Detroit future is brighter than ours right now?
I think
because Detroit, of the players that they drafted, not because.
Well, but regardless, my point is because all the circumstances factor in as the Knicks team. Why we don't get the draft spot? All of that stuff factors in what we're doing. Let's not act like what the team is doing. The whole point Queen is making, the trying to win part, you're not really succeeding at what you're trying to do. So I could see why some of the fans think that, but the main point is some of these pieces can't, the players that they pick, like Queen is saying, can't do what the fans think if they get the minutes. But some people feel like they could because they're not seeing them enough. And the players that they're going with isn't winning. They aren't winning, and they've been in the league. Some people know who these guys are. Some people feel like Obi could be better than Randall if he played. I don't know that, but that's still yet for us to see. But these are the things that you could look at to break it down. It makes a lot of sense.
Right. This is my hot take, and I'm gonna get to Ajay. The reason why the Knicks aren't winning is not because of the vets. The reason the Knicks aren't winning is because they play a lot of young players that don't have experience and don't know what it takes to win in this league. That's why the Knicks aren't winning. You look at any of these teams that's winning in the playoffs, their average age is not 25. These guys that's winning in the playoffs, they might have one or two young players in their rotation, not 7. Right. That's why the Knicks aren't winning, because they don't. A Randall and a Fournier and a Rose is not enough. So now you're counting on your first and second year players to not just grow organically, learn year after year. You're counting on them to actually produce. That's a lot of pressure to put on first and second year players. Other championship contending teams don't do that. So if the Knicks are not making the playoffs, it's not because of Randall and Fournier. If the Knicks aren't making the playoffs, it's because their team is too young and full of inexperienced players who are not ready yet.
Mm-hmm. I actually want to be the Memphis Grizzlies of this year, because if it's any team that was young players and that was going for it, it was the Memphis Grizzlies. And that team, you can say, have maybe 2 vets, just like we do. Steven Adams that didn't play in playoffs, and somebody else maybe, but I want to be the Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, we need RJ. We need RJ to play like Ja Morant. We need RJ to play like Ja Morant.
I'm not RJ. I want Brunson to be able to play a similar role to Ja Morant.
No, I'm talking about. I mean, I know they play 2 different positions. One's the point guard, and one. I'm talking about.
No, I'm not talking about
NBA
either.
Yeah, I know. I got you. I'm talking about like all NBA in general, or Randall. Right? We need someone like that that's on an all NBA type of talent to kind of rally the team, so the team can play around that person. And that person is yet to be seen. So, I mean, the Memphis example is cool. I think everyone wants the Knicks to be like a Memphis, but we don't have that guy. At least consistent. I've been on
record to say that Jalen Brunson is going to be an All-Star this year. So,
I hope you're right. Ajay, anything you want to add? I know we've talked about a lot. So, whatever you want to comment on.
Salute to all of you guys, and sorry I'm late, Queen. That's why I dropped in first, because there's a lot of stuff going on. You know what? I agree with you, Queen Steph. It's just we forget about winning. We want to develop these kids, and I know I missed the beginning of this, but I was listening to what you guys were talking about when you started the show with what Tibbs said about Evan Fournier. Tibbs would be crazy to not start Evan Fournier. It makes basketball sense. People don't understand. Like, they get emotionally attached to Quentin Grimes. That's cute. But the guy with the experience, the guy who's going to get you the points is Evan Fournier. We don't know that Quentin Grimes can do it. Maybe by Christmas, it'll be a different story. But right now, basketball sense is Evan Fournier should stop because he's gonna get you the point. See, there's a difference between the guy who's gonna get you the win and who's the guy who's gonna get to not lose. You know, Tibbs he's not trying to not lose, he's trying to win. So he's gonna go with the guy that has the 10 years experience, the guy he knows can get him the points. And like you said, you know, we want to develop, but we forget about that. We got to win, you know, otherwise we're going to be like Oklahoma City. We're going to be like OKC, like forever. They're developing forever. You know, since KD left, it's been a development and they stuck in that same mode. They have a gazillion draft picks, but they were stuck in the mud. You know, so yeah, we do have to play the kids, but we also want to win. You know, and we want to, you know, those guys, we call them veterans, but those guys are young. You know, Julius Randle's 27 years old. I mean, what are we talking about here? You know, he's not 35. You know, he's still, I don't even know if Julius Randle is in his prime. I don't even know if we've seen the best of Julius Randle yet. We don't know that. And the only way to find out. And another thing is with the, you know, there's always, you know, who's starting, who's not starting. Does that really matter? It's like, how many minutes does the guy, maybe Evan Fournier starts, but he plays 10 minutes and scores 12 points and Tibbs is satisfied with that. And then Quentin Grimes and IQ plays the rest of the minutes. Who cares who starts? Like, it's like your efficiency and like what you do while you're on the court. That's what matters. It's not who comes in first. Some guys don't want to start. Like Lou Will probably never wanted to start, and he's perfect coming off the bench. It's not about who starts. It's what you do when you're on the court, how efficient you are. As a fan base, we forget. And listen, all summer, I've been on these chats telling people, listen, Evan Fournier made perfect sense. Remember last 2 seasons ago when we lost to the Hawks? We needed shooting. It made perfect sense to go get Evan Fournier. People didn't understand that. We weren't looking at defense, but we needed a sniper. We went and got a sniper. It didn't work out the way we wanted to, but that was the right basketball move to do. If the front office didn't go and get a shooter, you had to question, like, did they really know what they were doing? Because we lost to the Hawks because we didn't have a shooter, because we didn't have a guy on the outside putting the ball in the hole. So they made the right move. It hasn't worked out. My guess is Fournier's second year is going to be much better. I think he said as much in his press conference today. He said that his defense, like, he wasn't focusing on defense, but he's probably going to do better this year in defense. So it's probably going to be a different story. Again, by Christmas, it might be a different story. But right now, Tibbs is right. Evan Fournier's got the spot. It's basketball-wise, that's the right thing to do, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. B-ball, for real, we did talk about it. It's the veterans can't win by themselves. This is a very young team. So the reason the vets aren't winning because they're not getting the support that they need. Look at the winning teams. How many young players are on those winning teams in the rotation? 1, 2. The Knicks have a lot of young players in their rotation. It's going to be hard to win like that. That's just facts. It's going to be hard to win. And I might have to readjust my 7 or 8 now that we're talking about how many young players are in the rotation and the average age of 25. You know? You know? Because you counting on these guys, you know? I mean, it's the third season. Anyway, training camp, preseason expectations. What question? I know it's only 4 games. Training camp is just another week, if that. Anything you want answered in preseason? Anything you think can be answered in preseason? For me, I got a long list, but I'm not going to bore you with all of them. But I think the preseason is going to give me a good sense of who's going to be in the rotation and who's not. The Knicks tend to do that. They don't play around with their rotations. They establish them really quick and play them throughout the preseason to get continuity. So I'm really looking to see who makes the rotation. Anything from preseason or training camp? Any questions or anything you're looking to be answered? Answered might be strong, but give an indication to
be revealed.
Yeah.
Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish.
So if I had a nickel for every time you said Cam Reddish this podcast, I would be rich.
No, but
I'll be rich too.
Josh,
I'll be rich too.
Josh, he is the question mark. He's the enigma. Like, what's what Cam Reddish?
You're right. You're right.
So the preseason will help you answer the question. So if we don't see him in playing, that's going to let us know that question has been answered. You're right. That's on my list too. What's Cam's role going to be, if any? I think we're going to find that out in preseason.
What I would like to see is how are they going to use Isaiah Hartenstein in the offense, and the offense that's going to be implemented this year. That's what I really want to see this year.
Yes.
Because the defense is something that I can semi say, I know what I'm going to get from Tibbs, but the offense, developing the offense more, having a little bit more pizzazz to the offense, and seeing how Isaiah Hartenstein fits into that is what I'm really looking forward to in the preseason.
That was going to be my answer. It's about Tibbs for me. It has nothing to do with players. It's all about Tibbs. We have no idea how he's going to use these players. If we look like we looked last year, it doesn't matter who's going to be starting at the 2. We're still not going to lose. We're still not going to win games. So I don't know. We'll see how Jalen Brunson fits, but for the most part, I'm worried about Tibbs. I'm looking at him and how he does this offense and how he makes adjustments.
Yeah,
I gotta believe it's gotta be some of the players. I understand what you're saying about the coach, because I did say that last night. It's all about Tibbs putting in the right people with the right rotation and putting in the right seasoning for everything to go right. But my biggest thing, and Randall is my boy. Y'all know that. But I want to see when is the adversity, when it comes, how he's going to handle it. Maybe the RJ chance, the booze, how is his mental is going to be focused on, if he's going to block it out and still play his game and still bring it home for the team. So I think that's one of the things that I want to see even in preseason, because they are still going to get in the business regardless, right? And I think the next thing is probably I want to see how Jalen Brunson initiates the offense.
Yes.
And how he's going to
be primary initiator.
Yeah, we all know.
Well, I think, in my opinion, I think he is. So I wanna see that, and see how the ball movement flow.
For me, I agree with Queen. I think the Knicks have had this thing where they put their rotations out there early, and that's how they're going to start the season. So that will give us an early indication of the rotations. As far as all that other stuff, the offense, how the offense is going to perform and all of that, no, I'm not looking at the preseason, because last season the Knicks was scoring 120 points per in the preseason. They scored 120 points, playing Detroit or whoever it was last preseason. And salute to my boy Sam, the Podfather, but he said the Knicks had a championship level like offense. I remember him saying that directly based off of those preseason games, and the Knicks proceeded to again have one of the worst offenses in the NBA during the regular season.
Damn, bro.
The pace was still low. So I don't look to the preseason to look at offensively how we're going to run, because I don't think it's going to translate to the regular season. It never does. So
that was cold.
Well, we got one game out of it. I mean, there was a lot of ball movement in that Boston game, and it had me hyped. Like, wow, this is how the Knicks are going to be playing. And I think maybe they did that for 5 games, maybe 5 games, and then after that, the offense just took a dive, and I'm not sure
People
what it
started
is.
getting injured,
which is weird. It's like you do it, it works, you winning, and then they stop.
Yeah, because I can hear Tibbs on the back, run, move. And so now I'm saying, well, he's saying run and move.
Obey.
Is it the players not running, and like what's going on that this offense is not moving? So you bring up a good point, Josh, because I was really wanting to see how that offense would flow in preseason, but you're absolutely right. We saw that movie before, and it came to a grinding halt around not even a 10th of the season. So
I think once we played Orlando, which was pretty early, is when the offense went to crap.
Is that when Randall checked out?
I think
After
so.
that Orlando loss?
Right around there. Right around there. You know.
Around
Jarrell,
there, right?
that was the first time. That's not win. That's the first time. Because there were like several. There's several wins last season where
Chicago early. Yeah, I remember.
I think the other thing I'm really looking for is how different, if at all, Randall's role will be with Brunson here. And I think that's something that we'll see in preseason. Who's handling the ball the most? But this is what I wanted to ask about this. They had Golden State and the Knicks game on earlier today.
The one when he broke the record?
Yes. That game was on. And do you think, and I've been on record saying I don't want Julius Randle to handle the ball at all, period. Go down to your spot, let Brunson bring it up and give it to you. Because of his decision making, right? But when I was watching that game, he was bringing the ball up. It was an advantage for the Knicks. Like, there was no power forward that can guard him in space full court, right? Do we want to take all of that away? Like, was his decision making so bad that we want to take all of that away or just tone it down a little bit? The second thing I noticed, and I'm gonna let you, the second thing I noticed was the gravity when he gets the ball in the post. Like, guys got really good shots off, open shots off of Julius Randle when he's in the post because of the attention he commands. I think that's gonna still be the case. But Josh?
Well, Queen, this is what I've been saying, and I know we've had this argument before in regards to Randle and him bringing the ball up and all that, but I think what separates Julius Randle and how he had his All-NBA season was because he became a really good point forward, right? And I understand the frustration. The Knicks didn't have a point guard, so, Randle had to basically dominate the basketball for the most part, but that's how the Knicks were able to get their shots, right? So I think we still need to have an element of that within the offense. I think that helps us, and then having Jalen Brunson added to the offense would hopefully unlock our offense so we can get better shots and hopefully be more efficient. But I don't want to take all of that away completely. I think there's a time and a place. We just have to know what that is for Julius Randle with Brunson on the floor.
Okay,
Go ahead, Eddie.
I was going to say, I want to piggyback on what Josh just said. You can't, Josh is 100% correct. You can't, listen, if Jalen Brunson is the only one always bringing the ball up, we're going to lose like 70 games. Because it's very simple. All you have to do is plan to play good defense on him. Throw, I don't know, your best defender at him, and then that's it. You shut down your offense. You got to have a secondary and a tertiary
ball handler. Yeah,
you got to have. Actually, our problem is we don't have a third guy that could do it.
Maybe RJ can. You don't think?
Not.
Yeah,
I think, like if we have. Probably if we have Cam Reddish, he could probably do that better than RJ, I think. But yeah, Julius Randle, he's good. The only problem is he doesn't know when to stop. Like, he'll go like once he hits.
I thought Derrick Rose was on our team.
No, but Derrick Rose, he's at the second squad. Like, he's probably not going to be on the floor when Jalen Brunson's on. I don't. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't. But Julius Randle, once he hits the 3-point, like he's got to pass, like he's got to get rid of the ball, but he tries to go all the way like too often, and then he's got to pass it before the double team. But we do need 2-3 ball handlers on the team. So
okay, I agree. I saw that today, but I can't do the primary facilitation thing. But go ahead, Jiro.
I'm with you on that.
Yep. Like, I'm cool with having 2 ball handlers. I just don't want him to be one of them. Like, I would like those responsibilities taken away from Julius Randle and have him primarily on the block. And I think if he was you think I'm wrong for wanting him on the block?
I didn't say that. Just the whole part where you saying you don't want him bringing up the ball, period. Like,
no, I don't.
Josh and Ajayi is completely correct. You cannot take away all of that from the offense, bro. What sense does it make?
I could definitely take that away from the offense. I'm not saying that anybody else can't do it. Like, he does not have to be the primary ball handler. He does not have to bring the ball up.
But if you heard my point earlier, I said Jalen Brunson. I would like to see Jalen Brunson initiate the offense. So that means Julius is not going to be the primary ball handler. That's
But
that's
what
one of
about
the things that
secondary
I
or
said.
tertiary?
But
Or you
what
just
about
want to handle
secondary?
I
that?
mean, listen,
asking
it's
you,
going to
Joel.
be a point in time. Oh, go ahead.
Secondary is cool, but I'm cool with RJ being in that role too. RJ has handled the ball a lot,
And
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 he's
and
been our primary ball
I
handler.
think that the most important thing is at the end of the game, who is the one that has the ball.
Jalen
Like
Brunson.
Brunson.
during the
That's
game,
good.
it really doesn't matter if Julius Randle grabs a rebound and brings it up the court. It doesn't really matter if RJ Barrett gets a rebound, brings it up the court, or whoever it is. At the end of the game is when we need that ball to be in Jalen Brunson's hands,
Right.
so that we can make, hopefully we can make the right plays. I think that's where we were lacking
That's the
last year.
biggest point, right?
And that's
I
the most
totally agree.
important part.
Agree with you 100%. And then with the Julius bringing up the ball, you guys got to remember Jalen Brunson. He's really good playing off the ball.
He did it off Luka. I
So-
was just thinking that. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, basketball, it makes sense to switch it up a little bit. Have Julius bring up the ball and have Jalen Brunson play off the ball. I mean, it's just a win-win situation when you do that.
I agree with you. It's just that sometimes Julius be out there looking like Bam Bam. Just he gonna knock everybody down. He gonna throw a hard pass. He's gonna, he gonna twirl around and
Train wreck.
I'm like, oh my.
He
Well,
pitches
Queen,
his
when you
Yo,
when
he-
you listen to his press conference, right? He and all said down here he's happy that Jalen's here, so he don't have to do most of the ball handling. So he's even more happy that Jalen Brunson is there, right? So
He is.
I
I'm glad
mean,
he said
all
it.
this
Let's
about
hope he
you don't
means
want
it.
him to bring up the ball and you don't want to handle the ball nonsense, Jarrell. Just stop
Thank you,
it,
Cheryl.
because it's gonna happen. You know what
Can
I
I-
mean?
so-
You gotta have different options that are offense to go
But I
through.
just need better decision making. Is that fair?
not Randy
Of course.
bringing up
That's
the
it.
Yes,
ball.
it is.
Hold on,
Not
but
Randy
wait,
bringing up the ball.
But just like what Queen said earlier, I think this narrative is kind of overplayed as well a little bit. For the simple fact is, the Knicks are a half-court team. So whoever brings the ball up, the Knicks, they get into their half-court set as soon as they cross the half-court. So Randall can bring the ball up and he can give it to Brunson, and the Knicks can run that play
Straight away, exactly.
straight away. That's what they do. So I think this narrative is kind of overblown.
No,
Personally, I understand it. I understand people's frustration because Randall is the one that's going to draw the most attention. And when he gets that attention, sometimes he doesn't make the best decision with the basketball. Fair point. Not even going to argue it. I agree with that. But the way the Knicks run their offense, it's not like Julius Randle is dominating the basketball where he has the ball in his hands for the majority of the beginning of the possession. If the player's not there, the Knicks go to Randle and he runs isolation. Now, if you want to get rid of that, that's a different conversation. But him being the primary ball handler, I just think that narrative and that argument is a little bit overplayed.
Josh, the problem is when he crosses half court, he doesn't get rid of it. That's the problem. He needs to do that. If he does that, I'm telling you, we're in great shape.
Right.
Once he crosses half court,
I've never seen Julius Randle take the ball, take a rebound, and run a whole full court and have the basketball by himself. I've never seen him do that.
That's what I was going to say. That don't even look right, bro.
Right. I've never seen that, but that's what I'm saying. That narrative is
How's
just
your best
overblown.
player? Hold on, look, I want to just say something, Josh. How's your best player bringing up the ball and shooting? Like, it don't make sense. Even LeBron James bring up the ball, he's making the best basketball play. So that's the point why Julius Randle should not have the ball up top like that. He should be in where he's most effective at. Now, did he improve because he has so much ball handling duty last season? Yes, he did improve because of that. But that you've seen the results of it, right? So you put him where he's most effective. If he happened to help the ball because of whatever reason, that's fine. We're not saying that he's never gonna have the ball. That's kind of crazy to say because that's an advantage for your team if you know that situation when he got to help the ball. You know what I'm saying? Or he could come to the ball and get the ball. But bringing it up and shooting, that was one of our big problems. And too much for him having the ball was one of our big problems.
I totally agree.
Yeah, I'm. Well, I don't need to look at old games. New games are on the on the horizon.
Exactly.
I just felt like Julius Randle dominated the ball a bit more and more than my liking, but he might have needed to do that on last year's team. I'm just hoping that now with RJ hopefully taking the next step with Brunson here, that he doesn't have to dominate the ball as much.
He did say that.
No excuses. No excuses.
Stafford, he did say that though. I wanted to say that. He did say that and he was mad. I like his energy I like the fact that
Mm-hmm.
he came in with mad positive energy, like he don't
He
even
did.
remember about that. So I
Yes,
think if he carried that energy over, he'll be okay. And that's really all what you need just to play ball. He was in his head to me. So if he bring that positive energy that he had for media day and he's laughing, he answered the media. Yo, I learned from it. Move on. That's all he could do. But like he said, Brunson is here now to take the ball pressure off him. He did say that. So
yeah,
like Tsunami said, hopefully he just sticks to that because it's going to make the game easier for him. And then he could go and learn some other stuff to the game that he's not, trying to do. It's easier for him, if you ask me. And he did kind of say something to make me feel like somebody told him that, or he just been watching the games on film or something to figure some things out. So we'll see. He got a clean
Telling
slate
y'all.
from me. He got a
I'm
clean slate from
I'm
me.
telling y'all,
yeah.
Jalen Brunson is gonna be one of those guys that gives the chemistry on this team that's gonna take it to a whole new plateau. Like I could just see it with him and RJ and Randall and the way that Randall already knows what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? He's already down in RJ the way he's supposed to. He's supposed to little brother RJ right now. You know what I'm saying? So I can see the camaraderie already, bro.
Mhm.
And Jalen Brunson is a major piece, major piece.
Yeah,
I
one
agree
of the
with that.
things Randall said at during his press conference, media conference, conference, whatever you want to say, that I was encouraged was when he said it's easy to lead when things are going well,
That's right.
but
But it's even more important.
it's more important when things aren't going well. And that realization, I'm happy he got it. Now, is he able to execute it? Because you can get something mentally, but in the moment, not be able to be that. So it seems like he got it mentally. Let's just see. Stafford, you said earlier, when things get tight, when things don't go his way in a game or in a season, we go on a 3-game losing streak or what have you. I hope not. You know, will we
Where's
see
his
this
head at?
new
Yeah.
Randall that he alluded to in the press conference?
I'm
Better not
wondering
let
if
me down.
oh my bad, Staffa. I was just gonna say,
No,
I'm
go
wondering
ahead. Go
with
ahead.
Rose's if y'all saw Rose's press conference as
Yes.
well, and the things that he said were pretty encouraging. It sounded like he admitted to he didn't really speak up much last year because he's been on teams where if the person who's not playing is speaking, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
So I
I
think
heard
he
that.
observed everything that Randall said and was just kind of like, I'm just kind of let him handle it. And I think with him having a larger role, per his per his words, with him
Mhm.
having a larger role, he'll have a larger voice and will also be helpful in the locker room and keeping Randall, I won't say in control, but just help him stay positive. So
He did
I'm
talk
encouraged
about
about that.
holding each other accountable, to your point, holding each other accountable and basically feeling more comfortable now that he's in shape and ready to play. And that he never wanted to listen to guys who were trying to talk in the locker room and they weren't playing. And I think he felt the same way last season. Anything else from media day that stuck out to you?
How Randall even said that he had to lose weight because you see them young boys running up and down the court. So he definitely had to, 'cause I feel like he still got Obi on his back still. I mean, as far as athleticism and going down the court, because you see what Obi could do. So I guess with all the emails sending to D Rose and Randall, they had to get in shape because I think they say they're going to be running a lot, right? So I think that was a key element to see what kind of offense we might be running to, like real fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we say that every year, and then in pace we like 28 or 29. So hopefully it'll be different.
I'm
This
hoping it's more of the defensive end that he sees that he has to stay up with these stretch four kids that are just out there shooting 3-point shots, and he wants to be down at the block, and he has to run more than everybody else to defend the
Yeah.
3-point line. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping his lean he's getting skinnier for, because he has to defend
Good
these
point.
Cam
Good point.
Johnsons. He has to defend these freaking guys that are out here at the 3-point line all the time because you don't want to be there really.
I know at some point we're gonna MBK and probably all the content creators are gonna have like a prediction show, what they predict from the team at some point. But I know everyone's talking about the Knicks playing with pace. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I mean, I would like them to do that, but I don't see it for the simple fact that Tibbs, we know who he is already. All his years of coaching, his teams have never played with pace. They've always been near the bottom of the league with that. And Jalen Brunson, he played on Dallas Mavericks last year. They were one of the slowest teams in the NBA as far as pace. Straight up isolation, and that's what the Knicks do. So I don't see the Knicks playing with more pace, getting more shots up per game. I think they'll still be hopefully closer to the middle of the league in offense, which is all I can ask for. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're still one of the lowest scoring teams in the NBA. Defensively, they're gonna play defense, but offensively, I don't think we're gonna be up there in pace at all.
But Dallas was slow mainly because of Luka. Luka plays like he's playing in sand. Like he's really slow.
No. So the pace, the stat pace is possessions per game. Possessions per game.
Oh, okay.
That's what pace is. It's not
because he's the leader, so he kind of, I figure, the team kind of follow like how he plays,
Well, when you got a dominant isolation basketball player like that, of course, I mean, that's what your pace is going to be. But I'm talking about the Knicks. The Knicks don't have any besides Obi, right? And you can't even say him really. The Knicks don't really have any player or players that tell me that they're going to play at a faster pace and get more shots up per possession. They just don't. They don't have those type of players.
Got to get more steals for more fast breaks. So.
Right. And they play good defense. They just don't force that many turnovers. They play good defense. They just don't force turnovers. So I don't see it.
I was going to say all of our leaders are slow too.
Yeah.
Like where are our fast leaders at?
Brunson got to settle in too.
A little bit, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Are we willing? I mean, we said this after we went to the playoffs the season after. Are we willing to sacrifice some defense to have a better offense? I mean, I am. I mean, I'm okay if we finish 12th in defense if our offense is like 15. I just Stefan.
Well, when you say that, I think about Tibbs normally always give it because I think if I'm not mistaken, and you can look it up, Tsunami, where we gave up like the most threes. Right, so Tibbs is a guy he normally doesn't want the teams to dominate in the paint.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go for it.
Yeah, he doesn't want he normally wants to have more rim protection and defend the paint than the 3-point line. So when you say probably give up more offense, I'm thinking on the other side. I'm thinking on the defensive side where we're giving up more threes than the team dominating the paint. But I still think in some games we do have to outscore some teams.
Wow.
Because I know
I gotta step out. Josh or somebody, can y'all just take over in terms of the questioning or just give me like
I'm gonna agree with Steph. I would want to tone back a little bit on the defense to get a little bit more on the offense. Kind of like what you saying, the pace, to me, that's not the one that runs faster to the other side of the court.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I do want to see more creativity. And that's why I wanted to see that in the preseason, because we have different players now. Some of those players that we did in the preseason the year ago got injured. Derrick Rose got injured. Kemba became Kemba again. Those are our main cogs on the offensive side of the board, on this side of the court. And now we have different players there. So I want to see more creativity. I want to see more high posts from Isaiah Hartenstein, more cutting from the backside, more, just different elements of the offense, because we have to keep up with the league. The league is very creative, man. We can't just stay back in the dinosaur age of offense and doing these handoffs, these quick handoffs. I mean, that's fine to have some plays like that, but I want to see more creativity. To me, that's a big sticking point, because we have to be more creative, because the defense is also good for other teams as well. Like, the Utah teams that are good on defense and we don't think they're good on defense. The Knicks teams that are good on defense and we don't think that they're good on defense. So we just have to be more creative with the ball. I think Brunson is going to help that. I think Isaiah Hartenstein is going to help that. And I know definitely Derrick Rose is going to help that being on the court.
Can I say something about this? So question is, are we willing to sacrifice a little bit of defense for offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just did that.
We did.
We just did that. We sacrificed Reggie Bullock for Evan Fournier.
Mhm.
You know, and Kemba Walker and
It didn't work.
Alfred Payton for Kemba Walker. It didn't work. And I'm not saying it's not gonna work or it wouldn't work. Maybe we went too far. Maybe we should have just switched one player. Maybe Kemba was a little bit too much. Maybe Evan, you know, with Peyton. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying we just did that. So it's
Yeah,
really
they weren't we did that, but they weren't good enough players. We supplemented the defense offense thing, but not good enough players for it. Like Jalen Brunson is head and above shoulders better than what we've had for the past I don't know how many years. You know, having a Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm just talking about the two players that we signed. Having an Isaiah Hartenstein brings a new wrinkle into the offense that we haven't had for at least the past 3-4 years. A different type of center here. And then Quentin Grimes having another year under his belt is somebody that we have there in the back end who can still shoot the 3-pointer and still gives us defense. So it's a two-way player kind of sort of that we have back there. So, you know, these at last year at that point in time, we didn't know what Quentin Grimes was. So I think we did that last year. That's 100% true. But we're just doing that now on another level. We're just better at it now.
Can I want to answer Sam's question in the chat. And I can't pull it up because Queen has all the controls. But he asked me, in Minnesota, weren't Minnesota a really high scoring team in the NBA? The answer is yes. But it's not because their pace was high. It's because they knocked down shots. They were top 10 in scoring in all those years that Tibbs was the coach, right? The players were able to knock down their shots. You had Jimmy Butler. You had Karl-Anthony Towns. This Knicks team don't have guys who can make shots and shoot from a high efficiency from the field. So, you know, I just don't see that this Knicks team can either increase their pace to a level to where that the points are going to add up to it, or if they don't increase their pace and they keep their pace very low, that they're going to be able to knock down the shots necessary in order to score a bunch of points to be one of the highest scoring teams in the NBA. So that's the dilemma I have with this Knicks team. And like I said, last year we were talking about the preseason and the first 10 games of the season, the Knicks, you know, playing with some pace, scoring 120 some points per game. It's because they were super efficient. But after that, it kind of just went away. So, Sam, to answer your question, that's the reason why Minnesota was one of those top scoring teams in the NBA.
And to piggyback off that, when sometimes teams go through whether they're an offensive team or whether they're a defensive team and they don't get to where they want to be, they change their identity. Like the biggest trade for Minnesota was getting Rudy Gobert. So now, you know, they put a center there with Karl-Anthony Towns at the power forward. They had like a stretch four back last year, which was Vanderbilt, I believe, and McDaniels. They have McDaniels there as well. Now they're changing their identity a little bit. They want to be a little bit more defensive. And the same can be said for Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks got rid of all of their shooting, kept Trae Young, and added, what's his name, DeJounte Murray. They got rid of Herter. They got rid of another shooter that they had. So, you know, people change their identities all the time. When you don't get to where you want to go, you try to get better in some aspects of where you were lacking before. I don't know if Atlanta's going to be as good as they were with DeJounte Murray now, because I don't know where the shooting's going to come from. Is Trae Young the shooting guard now?
No, he's going to dominate the ball. No, Trae Young is going to dominate the basketball. I think he led the league in what do you call it last season? Usage rate.
So then, what did you get DeJounte? Is he a glorified defender at the two?
He is what we were just talking about. Is what we want Randall to be. He is going to be a secondary ball handler on that Atlanta team. Because what happens is, if you have Trae Young with the basketball in his hands, you can do a lot of different things to him. Because there's nobody else on the floor that can handle on the court that can handle the basketball. Now they put someone next to him who can share some of those ball handling responsibilities. It's not that Trae Young is going to be playing off the ball, more than DeJounte Murray. Right, that's not going to happen. It's just that they're going to need someone else come crunch time that they can give the ball to, that can be able to create, right, and that can be able to play defense also.
Yeah, and that's probably some of the reasoning why they got him, because they needed a secondary ball defender, a ball handler. But now when Trae Young has the ball and he's driving into the paint off those Capella, and he used to kick it out to the Herter guy, or he used to kick it out to the other guy that they had. Now he's kicking it out to DeJounte Murray.
I think the problem with the Hawks, I don't know, the versatility of their backcourt, I actually think they can switch it up and have Trae run off ball more. I think he'll be very effective being an off ball. and Murray is good enough to be the primary ball handler. It's definitely in stretches because he does it all the time with San Antonio. So they have the versatility to do both.
Interchangeable, yep.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better.
Definitely.
With Murray playing the point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just don't see Murray shooting. When Trey passes the ball and he gives it to him, I guess he's going to have to try to slash.
That's what I'm saying. Trey Young is the two now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Trey Young is the two.
I agree. I just can't see Trey Young relinquishing that super high usage rate. I just can't see it. I mean, I know what y'all saying though. I know what y'all saying because in basketball wise it makes sense. But Trey Young led the league in usage rate. I don't know. We gotta actually see it.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's going to be tough for them too, because you're right. If Trey Young is in his same role, and you don't have Herter on the wing, and you got
what you get Murray for?
Murray on the wing.
They still got Bogey. Don't forget about Bogey. They still got him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Still spreading.
I think Trey's going to play off the ball, more than before.
Yeah, definitely more than before. But
yeah, definitely more than before.
And it makes a big difference when you have more than one ball handler, because you attacking different ways. The defense sometimes they don't know what to expect.
To me, if I'm playing basketball, I would love to have Trey Young off the ball, because to me the enigma, the problem with that team is when Trey Young has the ball. You know what I'm saying? He's going to cut through you. He's going to get picks around you. He's going to get the foul call. Him having the ball in his hands is the superstar in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Him taking away the ball from Trey Young is not a basketball thing for me. I think they were just doing exactly what Mr. Ajay was saying, that we decided to take some of the defense away, and we added Kemba Walker and we added Evan Fournier. They're trying to do the same thing the opposite way. They took the offense away to try to get some defense in there, and they might go through the same growing pains that we went through last year.
Atlanta also runs a ton of pick and roll. Don't forget about that. Atlanta runs a ton of pick and roll with Trey Young. That's one of their main plays.
It is.
So, that's what I'm saying though. But if you give him the ball, if you making him the off ball. Too. You know what I'm saying? If you're making him go off the ball, now you putting DeJounte Murray in that. Like, I'd rather have Trey with the ball than DeJounte Murray with the ball. That's the poison that I'm picking. Is I'd rather have that. So if you're giving me that, then I'm okay with it.
I think to me it don't matter on that with that. They both are interchangeable, like Jarrell said. So it's like when you got two guys like that pushing the ball, like it's different. And then they three could shoot. That's dude from Virginia. I can't think of his name.
Hunter.
What's his name?
DeAndre Hunter.
He could
hit the three ball. So like
but
that's a good tandem if you ask me. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think he's a great 3-point shooter, but I think he's gonna fit with that team.
He's gonna fit with that team. But if you want to pick and roll with him,
he got to improve on his jump shot for sure.
Yeah. Anything else about media day? Anything else about anything?
Why Derrick Rose had his shirt off? I know he lost some weight and everything. He wanted to show the guns and everything. But I didn't get that at all. Like, what
he
was
answered
happening?
the question. He
That
wanted to
was
show
it.
it off.
That's
He
what
was
you do,
excited.
Poppy. When you feeling good, that's what you do, yo.
Yeah.
Take your shirt off.
8 rounds. That's significant.
Randall
know
thought it
what
was
I'm saying?
hilarious. He popped in just to talk about it.
I felt the guys they all said the right thing, especially Randall. I mean, looks like he went through some therapy over the summer, man, because he was saying all the right things, like what we want to hear from him. He was just saying it all. So hopefully it's not just for 2 weeks. Hopefully
Queen, you could be a testament to this too, and I said it too. He is going to learn from his past mistakes. I said that a couple times on this show to you, Queen. And he, came and said it on the press conference and said, I have learned from last year. You know what I mean? So, and then when I look at some of his pages, he don't even follow nobody. You know who he follow? His wife and his 2 kids.
Good.
That's it. When you look on this page, it's normally about family and basketball.
Good. That's what he should
So
be doing.
I think he's even more focused on the task.
Stop worrying about what's going on with Knicks fans.
Exactly.
Queen, I wanted to address. I know you had the show on Queen's Court about the shock the world comment from RJ. I just wanted to address that real quick. I didn't get a chance to throw my 2 cents in.
You're not gonna kill that, are you? You're not gonna let him. You're not gonna
good.
let him be great. You need to let him be great now.
No,
He said
I am.
however you defined it. He said however you define shock the world.
Well, to me, I'm gonna explain how I define or my interpretation of shock the world from RJ. To me, the Knicks have to perform in the playoffs. That's what it is for me. I know most of y'all takes were getting to this seed and winning this amount of games. For me, I don't have the Knicks like it's not just about exceeding expectations, right? Because I have the Knicks below 500 this season as a record, right? But they can get to 500 or get a couple games above 500, right? To me, that's exceeding my expectations, but that's not shocking the world because some people have the Knicks in this between 43 to like 39 win range, right? And I have them at around 39 to 40 wins. Right, so 43 wins, a couple more games, whatever. But let's say the Knicks do get to 43 wins, and they put themselves in a 7th or 8th seed situation where they got to win one game in order to get into the playoffs. I think that's doable too. That's not out of the realm of possibility. That's going to completely shock the world that the Knicks do that. For me, shocking the world means if the Knicks get to a first-round matchup and they play one of the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference, which they will as a 7th or 8th seed, they take that series to 6 games, 7 games to possibly win it. To me, that's shocking the world. To me, that's what shocking the world means to me. If the Knicks are able to perform in the playoffs, that shows that they're taking the next step. Not just winning the amount of games per season and all that. Like, they have to perform in the playoffs and in those playing games, to me.
Yeah, I modified it to exceeding expectations. That's how to me, I modified it to shock the world to exceeding expectations. To me, shock the world was just a bit much. So yeah, that's why I said exceeded expectations.
He's young. He's 20. He's 22.
I was about to say, shock
Got a
the
little.
world.
Got a little.
Shock the world is RJ saying that we're going to win the championship because that's what he believes because he's RJ Barrett. That's what he's supposed to believe. That's what he's supposed to say.
Exactly
Shock the
right.
world
That's
is
what he's
RJ
supposed
Barrett's
to say.
gonna shoot 85% from the free throw line.
But hold on, but Sam,
We don't know.
but Sam, he said, well, people were saying that getting to the 5th or 6th seed, but if the Knicks don't perform in the playoffs, like I mean, they got to perform in the playoffs. If you're a 5th or 6th seed, you win the playoffs. You got to be able to perform in that first round. The Knicks were a 4th seed 2 years ago when they made the playoffs, and we got gentlemen swept in the first round.
We did.
So to me, they didn't live up to the expectations during that season, right? Even though the regular season they won more games than the people thought that. I'm just trying to transform people's mindset into not thinking about the Knicks during the regular season and how they perform in the playoffs, because I think winning playoff series and how you perform in the playoffs is what's a real marker of how your team is going to be moving forward and getting you to that next level. Because we can get to the playoffs and as a 7th or 8th seed and get swept in the first round. Then what? You know what I mean? That's doable for this year. That's doable. That's not really crazy to think about.
Step by step. If
Yeah,
the
we gotta
Knicks,
get there first.
You gotta take.
I mean, a lot would have to go. Not a lot, but some things would have to go right for the Knicks to even do
Right.
that.
First, we
to
gotta
do what?
win the
To
game.
get to the 8th seed?
Yeah.
Because Queen, think about it. This is what I'm saying. Like, how many wins you have the Knicks winning this season? Let me just ask you that question, hypothetically.
I had the Knicks winning 40 to 41 wins.
Okay, so 40 to 41 wins. That can put you at like probably a 10th or a 9th seed. You
Right.
telling me with them winning the 2 playing games to get to either an 8th seed or a 7th seed is completely out of the realm of possibility?
No,
It's only 2
just-
games.
I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but even the 41 games, some things have to break right. This team has a lot of questions, in my opinion. We don't know what Randall we're going to get. We don't know if RJ's taking the next step. We're hoping Brunson fits seamlessly. There's no guarantee of that. So even to get to the 40 wins, some things have to break right.
Okay, so your expectations are a little bit lower. They kind of just like me in a way. I'm just saying if the Knicks, like for those who say the Knicks can win 45 games or in between 40 to 45 games or whatever, that's still playing territory. And it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to get hot at the right time, depending on who the matchup is, and win one game to get into that final 8. It's just that next step, when they actually are in that playoff series, to me, I think that's what's going to matter. Like that matchup, how they play against the Milwaukee, how they play against a Philly or whoever's going to be number 1 and number 2 seed, and how they perform in that series. If they get swept, to me, that's just kind of what we all expect, right?
Yeah,
but if you push on the 6 to 7
Not
games,
shocking the world. Yeah.
right, push on the 6 to 7
what's
games,
funny to me? What's funny to me
If
is
the Knicks get the 5th or 6th seed, I would be shocked.
Yeah, with
That's
Jalen.
not
Me
really
too.
shocking the
finish
world,
it.
though.
Me
But
too.
I'm looking forward to that. That's what I'm predicting. That's what's so funny about this year. The way I look at the team this year, um, and there was some ESPN analyst that said like he kind of like the way the Knicks looked this year. You know, some of the parts that they had, this and that. I've always been pessimistic. Ever since you guys have known me, I've always been somebody saying, you know, we're not there yet, this and that, like we're not good enough, you know. But this year it just seems a little bit different with the pieces that we added. And this is the year that my tune has changed, because I've always been that guy that's been like, yo, we're gonna win 40 games, we're gonna win 40 this. I've always been that guy underneath, you know, everybody else. But
So
this year
what
I
are you
can see
saying
us
this year?
winning.
Well,
This year I
I
can see
feel
us
like
winning 48 to 49 games this year. That's what I'm saying. Six seed is not out of the realms of possibility to me. I'll be so happy if we get there. That's not shocking me. What shocking me would be winning a playoff series. That would be shocking.
nah.
I would be shocked in this Eastern Conference if the Knicks finished in the top six. I'm not saying
Yeah.
is it inside the realm of possibility? Absolutely, it's inside the realm of possibility.
I think shocking me,
The whole East got better.
regardless of seed, shocking me is just getting to the second round of playoffs.
Yeah.
No matter what seed we
Yeah,
are.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
that's
shocking.
hitting
to
a
me.
home run
Yeah.
to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the whole East improved. So, you know, it's too much that, in my opinion, it's so much got to work out for us. You know what I mean? Hopefully, like you said, Queen, he fits in seamlessly and Randall plays well. Like all that stuff got to happen, which
Has
it
to happen.
could,
And RJ
which it
takes the
could.
next step.
But you know, when we got Brunson, all other teams picked up more players as well. You know what I mean? It's not like we just added Brunson and Hartenstein and nobody else improved. So I think
I just feel
it,
like
it
we
got to
had
be more chemistry. Like if they play more together, and I covered this. If they play more together, then it's up to that part to me. If they play like a real team and learn how to play together, then you know it could be
okay.
well.
And this goes into my point. Like I feel like the Knicks had the wide receivers, the Knicks had the running backs, the Knicks had the tight ends, but we never had the quarterback. You know what I'm
Makes a
saying?
difference.
This year, this is the year that we have a quarterback. And you can see how having a quarterback makes the teams so much better. That's why I'm putting all of this burden on top of Jalen Brunson's shoulders this year.
But
And I'm saying he's our quarterback and he's going to take us because we have the ancillary pieces.
and
We
what are
just never
they?
had. We have the Julius Randle, who's one of the better power forwards in the league. You said it yourself. There's many games.
You're right.
There's many.
You're right. But the question is which Julius Randle we're gonna get. And that's what I mean by I agree with you. We have the talent, but we don't know what we're gonna get yet. Now that's what I'm really interested in seeing.
That's what I'm bringing up these football analogies, because you can be as good as a wideout as you can be, but if you can't have somebody to throw you the ball well in your spots, you ain't never gonna catch no balls.
Yeah. I guess to Steph's point, is Julius Randle going to be Kenny Galladay this year or Kenny Galladay when he was with the Lions?
Because he had Matt Stafford.
He's
That was
a
a
better
quarterback,
player
right?
than he's a better player. You know what I'm saying? He's a way better player than that. There's Julius Randle is one of the better power forwards in the league. Now he has somebody that can give him the ball where he needs it, and somebody that can actually talk to him and say, "I want you to go do this, Julius. Like go down here for a second, so I can." You know what I'm saying? And we see that he can respect that. We're going to the East.
Salute
My guy
Trav.
Trav B. Ryan. I love it.
Salute to Trav.
Bring
Hey,
that
man.
positivity.
I told you after 11 o'clock the chat
Yes.
get crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. I like that
Salute
type
to
of
that.
action, bro.
Yes,
dope.
bring that at 11 o'clock.
I like
Yes,
that.
sir.
Salute to that.
That would shock the world to answer.
That would definitely shock the world. Yes.
Yeah.
Winning playoff series.
Let's go.
Yeah. Anything else regarding training camp, regarding what you want to see in preseason, regarding anything else before we get out of here?
Man, I just want to see Tibbs. I don't know, not be Tibbs. I don't know. Like I don't know what I'm trying to I don't know. Everything with Tibbs to me, man, how he uses Jalen Brunson. We already talked about Randall and him handling the ball compared to Jalen Brunson and stuff like that. Just be imaginative with this offense to me. Like the rotation to me will handle itself. We can't we can't say anything about that, but Tibbs, now that he has Jalen Brunson, it's a lot of stuff that I don't want to see that I saw last year. That's all.
Okay.
I want to say
Hey,
something.
QB, man. IQ being a two-way player too. He said it, you know what I mean? He got stronger. So I'm looking forward to IQ also in a bigger role too and see how better he got, you know. So IQ is the next sleeper on the team too. Go ahead, Hardwood.
I was going to say, I think Brunson and his relationship with Coach Tibbs should even it out a little bit because Randall got a good relationship with Tibbs too. So I think we get some more balance, and plus he's the point guard. So I think that's going to help a lot. Just like you said, push him to where he belong more. It's not saying he can't shoot a three. I think when you play ball, if you play an all-around game and you're feeling good, then you may hit more threes instead of just jacking up threes or getting the ball too far away from the rim. Just be more, be in your strong suits. So when you in the floor of a three, he'll knock it down. You know what I mean? So that's basically what I want to say about Randall and Brunson. Great show. Thanks for having me.
Of course,
Queen.
of course.
Dope panel. Everybody.
Salute to the chat. Salute to the chat.
Salute, bro. Salute.
You already.
All right. Queen,
Yes.
Queen, I want to add something to what Jarrell was saying about Tibbs. I really think we're underestimating how important he is. Like last season, I think he was like very responsible for our failures. He has to, and I know you've said a million times, you don't see Tibbs playing Julius Randle less than 38 minutes.
No, less than 34.
Less than 30. Okay, okay. All right, but he really needs to manage his rotation. He's terrible. He was last season. He was terrible at that. If he does a better job at managing that rotation, we are going to be much better. I'm not saying we're going to be a 4 or 5, but we at least make the play-in. He's got to, it's not just the players getting tired. They become more inefficient when he does that. And then the team you're playing against, the opposition, it's best when they don't know what's coming. Like he has this thing where Julius Randle plays like the same amount of minutes the first quarter, and then it's like clockwork. He subs Obi Toppin, and like the other team already know what you're gonna do.
But AJ, every coach does that. The only one who doesn't, every coach has their rotation around what time this player can. That's not different. But there are some coaches like Steve Kerr who do things that most coaches don't do, which will pull somebody off the bench for 5 minutes who haven't played in 3 games. Not a lot of coaches do that, but most coaches have a set rotation that guys come in at a set point in time because that helps their rhythm when they know that they're supposed to come in.
Steph. So the one example, the guy who doesn't do that is the guy who won the championship. Maybe we should do that a little bit.
No. But the guy who won the championship because he got Steph Curry. The year that Steph Curry was hurt and Klay Thompson was hurt, Golden State went straight to the lottery. So you gotta have the players, and he had a top 75 player in the history of the NBA. So I'm not saying that coaching doesn't matter. It does. You gotta have those dogs. You gotta have those players. And a lot of times when you do have those players, you don't even get to see the flaws of the coach because they're never really challenged.
Exactly.
Because they have players that cover up their flaws.
Yeah. Brunson could
Steve
create
Nash,
a shot.
Steve
Brunson could
Nash
create a shot.
He's a horrible coach. Like he
Well,
has
you gotta-
two best players and he can't take them nowhere. My bad, Will.
Nah, that's all good, bro. I was gonna say Brunson can create his own shot. So it's like having a coach on the floor when the play don't work, or just his history alone. He can make things happen. We haven't had that in a while. Like knick-knack plays, getting players in easy buckets. You know what I mean? That's what Brunson can do for us, because when you could score off the dribble like he could, they got to pay him a lot of attention. It's going to loosen up RJ, Randall, even Mitch. They're going to get a lot of easy buckets. So it takes a lot of pressure off the whole team.
Yeah.
Special plug-in. Special plug-in.
Come on my team, baby. Jalen Brunson All-Star, baby.
That's like me on your team.
Almost there.
Best player on the Knicks.
I'm almost there, Eddie. I'm almost there.
Hardwell, you have your link. If you have your link, you could drop it in the chat.
I wrote. Let me see.
Yeah.
Is it gonna let him? Because I know when Jarrell and I were trying
Oh,
to post ours
yeah.
in there, it didn't let us do it. So
It's
Oh, it
all
went
good. I just
did it-
put my I wrote from the show in the chat just now. If y'all want to subscribe to For the Love of the Game with the number 4, I just wrote in the chat. So if you want to subscribe, appreciate it.
Anybody else have anything coming up or any last words?
let
I'll
me
have
just
some
jump in.
last.
Oh, go ahead, Eddie. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
No, go ahead. You go, girl.
All I was just gonna say is I just want to acknowledge Joe Long's comment of what happened to the bowling chick. Who is this Tsunami Jones? We've been doing some rebranding over here at the Tsunami Speaks channel. So it's an AKA I've had it for a long time. It's a bowling nickname, so I'm just rolling with it. So it's Tsunami Speaks now. You can still call me the bowling chick. I'll still respond, but I have my own channel where I talk about the Jets and the Knicks on occasion. So
I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna go ahead and be that guy. And I'm gonna go ahead and say salute to Mark Berman, who's retiring from covering the Knicks for the New York Post, retiring after 22 years.
No rebranding over there.
Yeah, and that's all I'll say about that. I'm not even gonna throw any more pleasantries at that. But salute to Mark Berman.
Yeah, I agree. Salute to Mark.
Mark Berman.
I didn't know he was retiring. Is he for real?
Yeah, he announced it on Monday, the day after he did that little.
I'm sure.
Tweet of RJ.
I'm sure the Knicks won't miss him.
No, not at all.
RJ won't miss him.
You heard what Julius Randle
Mitch
said. Berman, where you at?
Yeah.
Berman, where you at? Your last interview.
Cam won't miss him either.
You always need that type of guy. You always need that type of guy that goes against the grain. When everybody wants to say negative things, you always need somebody to say positive things and vice versa. So I'm gonna take that stance this year against Uncle Fulio. Getting with the 40 wins this year. I'm gonna go for 50. I'm gonna go for top 6.
Damn, you were at 48, 49 like 15 minutes ago.
I was at 49. I was at 49. I just want to make it nice and round because he said around 40. I'm gonna go with 50.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with top 6.
But you're on that freezy.
Jalen Brunson All-Star this year.
Did I make you up your score because what I said?
If you're on my team, you're definitely gonna up my score. You're definitely gonna up my score. But yeah, man, I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of faith in this team this year, and I'm a Knicks fan, so I should be like this.
That's right. Speak your truth. Sorry,
and thank you again, Steph, for allowing me to join the platform and
dope show.
Talk my spiel and salute to everybody on the channel, man. It's all love for everybody. That's it. Peace out.
Yep. Thank you all for joining. Hardwill, please come back. Jarrell, Staffer, Tsunami, Eddie C, Josh, Ajay. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me, and I don't take it for granted. You never know.
I'm here. I'm coming back, Staffer. It's kind of quiet tonight.
I'm
coming back. Coming back. I know. I keep people a little quiet. You know what I mean when I'm around. But
not at 11:27, Hardwood.
I told you after 11.
I gotta get him before we leave. I gotta get him at the buzzer so he can't go off on me. Good seeing y'all, man. Dope show.
You already know.
Definitely. Nice to meet you, IG. Jarrell.
All right, you too, man. All right.
Peace.
Oh, what happened? Did I hit it?
No, you still live, Steph.